Okay. Oh, we've been live for a few seconds. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our second to last TNF live stream of the year. Broncos Chargers. It's a home Chargers game. Were it not for this stream, I'd probably be there tonight. And honestly, so would EJ, because I would have made him fly down to go to this game with me. Because it's going to be really good. This is essentially an early playoff game. It's going to determine wild card seeding for both of these teams, because perhaps both of them are going to make it. We might have three AFC West teams in the playoffs. And whoever wins this game is probably, likely, ideally, going to be the higher seed. Now, of course, for my own personal content purposes, I would love that to be the Chargers, because I work with them, and I need more good content to make about the Chargers. But if I had to pick, do I want to pick against Jesse Minter? I don't know. The Broncos defense is pretty good too. If I had to pick, I'd probably lean Denver, but I don't know. Picking against Justin Herbert and this Chargers defense is also pretty tough.
Yeah, Greg Roman versus Vance Joseph is going to be a lot of fun tonight. Not to mention the other side, when you flip both teams, it's going to be a ton of fun. And, I think we're lucky to have a Thursday night game this late in the season that has this many storylines and one team not completely checked out yet. That's just lucky. And I think it's going to make for a good stream. Obviously, we're going to have probably a few less people than we would, earlier in the season, but their loss.
As long as the game is entertaining and not, the vamp fest that we had last week, where we're just trying to get through it, I'll take what we can get. Chat asked how many more TNF streams this week, and if we end TNF for the year with the Bears. Yes. The Bears game next week is our last TNF stream of the year. So we're going out with, I don't know if I'd call it a bang or a whimper. Going out with tears and with Malort.
I can't lie. I got offered tickets to go to that game, and I was like, maybe I'll just take them. Maybe I'll just go.
So you don't have to talk about it publicly.
Just give drunken tweets from the game, because that would probably be about the same level of analysis. But no,
I just realized I'm seeing you the day after. I mean, I don't know who's watching right now. I mean, right. I will be taking a flight to somewhere the day after that game.
Anywho, no, it's coming up quick, but so's Christmas. Everybody's doing the countdown. Kids are doing the countdown. You're in stores. They've got the countdown on the wall. Days till Christmas, until the staff can go, scream at the walls. But regular season's winding down here. A lot of storylines left. Obviously, AFC West, lots to be determined. Big Wit brought up the possibility, and it would require some machinations, as it always does, that the Vikings could be the 1 seed in the NFC.
Mathematically, it's still possible.
Correct. Which is kind of wild.
Crazy likely, but it is possible.
No, it would require, obviously, them to win out and some help, but I think that's the first time I've heard it mentioned in any kind of seriousness. And it's not one of those like, oh, they have a 1.5% shot. Like, it is possible. There is a path to it happening. And that's crazy. And that's one of the reasons we love this league, is that, coming down to the end, not everything is determined. There's still a lot that matters, both for the teams that are in the playoffs and for the teams that aren't. I mean, yes, I'm a Bears fan, but there's a lot of evaluation that's going to go on for the Bears. Like, who wants to be here in 2025? And if you dog ass it for the last month, whoever comes in as the new coach is going to look at that tape and go, yeah, nah, you're moving on. I'll bring in some of my guys. So there are lots of things that matter.
Kel had our first super chat in the night. Hi, Kel. How are you? For $10, he says, Brett, a few weeks ago, I asked you if you thought Josh Allen could surpass Thurman Thomas's franchise rushing record of 65 TDs this season. You said no. Allen now has 64. Want to revise your prediction? A, yes. B, at the time, I didn't foresee Allen literally having a back-to-back game stretch that has never been done before ever in the history of the sport. Maybe I should have seen that coming because he's Josh Allen. But yeah, I think I'll
Maybe.
revise that. I think 3 weeks to go. He needs 2 rushing touchdowns. That's like a half for him at this point. So yeah, I'll go with yes for that.
Yeah, perhaps we didn't see 3 rushing touchdowns from a quarterback in the same game because
With 3 passing also.
it does doesn't happen very often. And yes, Josh is prone to do Josh things, and he is doing Josh things at a higher rate than ever this year. And that is why he is getting, I don't even want to say consideration. That is why he's the front runner for MVP right now. Lamar's over there going, dude, what do I have to do? And it's like, well, I don't know, be Josh Allen. And that's incredibly tough. Josh's team is in a slightly better position right now. He's certainly had more primetime games and shown up in those, and those matter for awards. It's not what we base them off of, but don't think it doesn't matter. It absolutely does. It's going to be hard to unseat Josh from the top spot right now in the MVP race because of those late season, highly impactful, very rare performances.
Jack is also here. Hi, Jack / good morning, Jack. How are you? Evening, gents. Wishing you both a Merry Christmas. Wishing you a Merry Christmas as well. Everybody who's in chat, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Literally Kwanzaa, anything that you guys celebrate, or if you just get together and exchange gifts because that's what you do and you're not religious about it, that's also amazing. Either way, happy end of year gift giving
Festival
cycle.
of Lights,
Festival of
celebration,
Lights.
sitting in a dark room, drinking by yourself, whatever. Like, however you celebrate.
Matthew Wright for $5. The report that came out about the Jets is hilarious, but anyone saying any current NFL owner is worse than Dan Snyder needs to look back at history. Woody Johnson is not worse than Dan Snyder because, to our knowledge, Woody Johnson has not human trafficked his own cheerleaders. Emphasis on to our knowledge. But if we're talking about like non-felon owners, he's up there. he's up there, and I feel bad for Jets fans because I truly don't know what you do, right? And like I was texting with my buddy Mike, who lives over in New York. Shout out, Mike, if you're watching this. Just had a beautiful baby boy. And he's a lifelong Jets fan. Dad's Jets fan, raised him as a Jets fan, and he just had his baby a month ago. And he's like, I don't think I can sentence him to this. Like, I think I'm going to go buy him a Bills onesie and just get him out of this life because I've been miserable my entire life. I don't want him to be miserable his entire life. Like, I'm going to break the cycle and I'm going to make this kid not be a Jets fan. And the fact that he is not the only Jets fan that is thinking that is kind of heartbreaking, right? Because there are generations here that are like, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. We are hopeless. This guy is incompetent. He's driven us into the ground. And that's just sad. That sucks.
Yeah, it's brutal. I grew up with a lot of Jets fans. One of my best friends came to my first grade birthday party. Lifelong Jets fan, same thing. Dad, lifelong Jets fan. I have no idea. I haven't checked in with Kirk in a long time to see if he's still holding the line, if he's made his kids be Jets fans. One of our editors is a Jets fan. Our buddy Connor Rogers from NFL Stock Exchange. Shout out to Trey and Connor. Connor's a hardcore Jets fans, again, comes from a family of Jets fans. It is rugged when your NFL team is in the can and there is not an easy way out. There is not a clear path forward. And anybody that's followed our content knows that we know somebody that works for the Jets. And I texted him today and said, hey, man, you're looking at the wrong numbers the whole time. It was Madden. He said, yeah, we're going to use CFB 25 to scout players, so you're out of a job too. I said, that's cool. I'll just get myself a chair on the beach. But, regardless of whether or not the reports are true, it doesn't really matter. Life forward as a Jets fan is going to be difficult. Now, it can turn around very quickly. You know this as a Texans fan. We always bring up this example that the Texans were looking pretty darn hopeless for a while, not as long as the Jets, of course, but turned it around in a hurry when they got the right combination of head coach, offensive play caller, and quarterback. And that was the difference. And now they've got a shot every year. They're in the conversation. They are competitive. They are a different franchise than they were just, 2, 3 years ago. So it is possible, Jets fans. Going to take a little bit of luck, but it's not impossible.
Unfortunately, Woody's not getting sent to England again for the next 4 years. So, yeah, it's rough out there. Before we do any more super chats, I do want to point out for the people that are wondering and wanting it, the underdog entry for tonight. As is tradition, I did not consult EJ at all before putting this together. There are no kickers on it, by the way. So
you know what that gives me is plausible deniability. I can be like, look, man, I didn't see it either. This is not my fault.
I think you'll like this one though. So
I like Zach Allen right off the top. That's awesome.
Zach Allen getting a half sack against a very beatable interior Chargers defensive line or offensive line, to say the least. Their tackles are amazing. The interior, not so much. So give me Zach Allen. I thought about Cooper and Benito because they're both top 12 edge rushers this year, top 15 edge rushers this year in terms of every metric that matters. But again, against these Chargers tackles, I think it's really more of a Zach Allen kind of day. Oh, yeah, that's Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton at 62.5 receiving. He's going to be the guy that just gets endless, 22-yard dagger shots from Bo Nix tonight. And looking at a lot of the coverages that the Chargers play, they're pretty heavy in terms of cover three. They'll start out in 2 high safety looks and then rotate down either to 3 strong or 3 weak. And dagger does tend to work pretty well against that. So you hit a couple of those, give me a couple gimme curls, and all of a sudden you get 70 yards out of it. So give me Cortland. Bo Nix higher than 220.5 passing. Again, this Chargers defense is very good, but over the last month or so, they've been gettable. They're not bad, but they have had a couple weeks where they've given up quite a little bit of pass yardage here. So and Bo Nix has been playing really well, so give me Bo at higher than 220. Deion Henley higher than 7.5 tackles and assists because he's a tackle machine. And I feel like that is way underrating what he is capable of. And then Herbert. This is the one that gives me pause. Lower than 234.5 passing yards. This is really more out of respect to the Broncos defense than anything else. One of the best units in all of football. And unfortunately, I don't know if Ladd McConkey is going to be able to put this one on his back as long as Patrick Surtain exists. So give me Herbert lower than 234.
You're correct. I do not mind the slip at all. I think most of those are choices I would have made. I want to talk about Zach Allen for a minute, along with his interior line mates for the Broncos, DJ Jones and John Franklin Myers. 3 names that we don't talk about a whole lot when we're talking about great interior defensive players in the NFL. We talk about Quinnen, and we talk about Dexter, and we talk about Jeffrey Simmons. We talk about a lot of people on the inside. We do not talk about these 3, and these 3 are playing like demons, especially against the run over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Unheralded performance, absolutely hammering and keeping, basically limiting teams. And this is relevant tonight, especially because Roman's going to want to do this with interior rushes. He wants to get the Chargers offense on track. That's one way the Chargers offense likes to get on track. They're going to struggle against Zach Allen, DJ Jones, and John Franklin Myers. Just wanted to call out that trio because not many people do. Again, like you said, the edges are getting a ton of attention. They have very flashy numbers. A lot of that is because of the play of those interior 3, forcing other teams in passing situations, and also just wrecking shop on the inside and hanging up blockers so that those guys can be free on one-on-one matchups on the outside. So a real strength of the Broncos defense. I'm super excited that you put a defensive player on the slip and that it was Zach Allen.
Plus, Allen is just overall been, I think, one of the most unheralded stars in the league this year. In a lot of ways, he's kind of the engine that makes that defense go. With his disruption on third down, with his early down run defense, I mean, you can line him up anywhere and he's going to be effective. He's set up Cooper and Benito for a lot of the pressures they have gotten, with all their stunts and everything like that. Just a very, very, very underrated player, at least relative to how damn good he is.
Oh man, Zach with $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Zach. Instead of actually watching the game next week, why don't you just spend 3 hours drunkenly recalling everything that went wrong for the Bears? That sounds like a day that ends in Y. We might do it on a
Also, I
stream.
don't think 3 hours is enough for that.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface. Yeah, we have history with the Bears for sure. I love the suggestion though, Zach. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate the super chat. We might do a little bit of that. If the game gets out of hand, it might turn into a laundry list affair. We'll find out.
Jeremiah McInturf. What a name. For 1999. Thank you, Jeremiah. Chargers fan here. First time donor. Thank you.
Let's go.
Appreciate you for supporting us. What would you like to see the Chargers do in the draft after a promising start in the Harbaugh era? Okay.
Okay. This is going to be the biggest shoe-in of draft season, I swear to God.
They have to get a receiver.
Yeah, receivers it. Like if you see a mock draft and the Chargers don't get a receiver in the first two picks, just burn it. Like they need not only one, they need like a 2 or 3. So they got to get one in the first two picks.
And here's the thing. Their other biggest need is probably interior offensive line. There's not an interior offensive lineman that's going to get drafted that high in the 20s, I think, probably. So it's
agree to disagree, but regardless, they don't need him that high. That's for sure.
But I mean, if you're putting, how about this? Whoever that interior offensive lineman that you're thinking of is,
Yep.
if him or Emeka Ibuka's on the board, is it even a discussion?
No, or several other receivers. There are at least 3 other receivers in that conversation in that range of picks that, like, if they're there, the Chargers need to go, yep, absolutely. Make them wear powder blue. Let's go.
I would even consider like a trade up for Tet McMillan, like depending on how far he falls.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see because of the relative strength of the wide receiver class, and we will talk at length about this during draft season, versus some of the strengths of the other positions. And there's going to be value at certainly defensive line, defensive edge, maybe tackle, but obviously the Chargers don't necessarily need that. They have 2 very good ones. So the other thing was you could always wait in the past 2 to 3 years for a wide receiver and know that in round 2 or even the top of round 3, you were going to get a very good prospect. If there is an early-ish run on receivers, it's going to be one of those things where the fuse goes really fast. Like as soon as one goes, like 3-4 more might go, and then everybody's going to lay off because there's going to be a gap and there's going to be much better players available relative at other positions. And people are just going to go, look, we'll just wait till the end of day 2. It's fine. So it'll be fascinating to see when that run starts, how fast it goes, and when it burns out. But the Chargers cannot afford to wait because of that, because it is a clear and crying need for them.
E-Dubs, again, talking about the Chargers here, said, am I wrong for thinking they will go tight end first pick? You're not wrong for thinking that, because Tyler Warren would be perfect. The problem is I'm not convinced Tyler Warren's going to be there at that pick. So it's kind of like who was it that wanted like when Bengals fans were like, oh, Brock Bowers or bust. Like, let's get Brock Bowers in the first round. It's like, if he's there, sure.
Yeah.
But I think Tyler Warren, I think, would be an amazing first round pick for the Chargers. I think the likelihood of it is relatively low. Just like Genty, like I don't think Genty's going to be there. So for me, it's you're looking at maybe people hold this year against Luther Burden and he slips a little bit, or
that would be amazing.
It would be great, but
Luther Burden from catching balls from Justin Herbert would be tremendous. He's a very, very good player. The other thing about tight end is, if you don't get the top one in round 1, and that's okay, and you go for your wide receiver choice, tight end is relatively stronger than it has been in years, and compared to wide receiver, it has more strength than it has in the last 2 or 3 years. Again, top heavy tight end classes, folks like Brock Bowers, but you weren't getting that depth later on. It's the reverse this year. You're going to get the stars at wide receiver at the top 4 or 5 picks. and then it's going to drop off a bit. Tight end carries on through round 2 and round 3 even. It's a very tight end draft. So if you're again doing draft strategy and you're thinking, look, you need wide receiver to tight end, in this draft, I would most likely, depending on how the board falls, go wide receiver first and tight end second because you're going to have more choices.
Nathan Woolley also for $20. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate you. We hear about the guys you watch, but not your own playing careers. What's a highlight from the highest level you've played at? I was supposed to play for Boise State, but tore my pec my senior year of high school and lost my priority walk-on. So I got a spine injury while I was in high school, so I never had a shot at college athletics. And in fact, if you've been watching us for a long time and you randomly see me do these little kind of twitches and shakes, good old nerve damage cropping up from when I was a 15-year-old playing hockey and went full speed into the board's tailbone first and compressed my spine. So my athletic dreams ended fairly early on in my life. I still played club hockey in high school because I just loved playing hockey. But there was no shot for me long term. And EJ, I'm pretty sure, has broken everything in his body at least 3 times over. So probably similar story for you. Yeah.
It's weird. We've both compressed our spine. I broke mine T5 and T7 with a compression fracture. That was after my school career for sure. I didn't. It's funny. I didn't break anything until I was about 14. Then I broke lots of stuff. In terms of football, if we're talking specifically football, I only played little kid football. I only played till about 5th grade. And then I was playing football, baseball, basketball, running track, doing a couple of other sports in between randomly, but I did, 3 or 4 of those all the way through high school. And so I didn't play any higher level football. I wanted to play in both high school, but I abhorred our coach. He was a Napoleon type and I wasn't into it. And then when I got to college, strangely enough, I was supposed to play soccer in college. I was going to walk on as a goaltender, and we switched college coaches, and the new coach brought in 4 of the top available goaltenders for NAIA in the country.
Oh,
my
fun.
freshman year. And I was like, oh, so I could go on and be like maybe 3rd, maybe if I was really good. Didn't want to do that. And strangely enough, our football team was run-based for the most part, but I knew all the guys because my work study job was at the field house as an event manager, and we didn't have any wide receivers over 6 foot, and I was about 6'1". And so John Batikin, shout out to Batty, said, man, you should walk on. Like, we could use you. You could catch. And I thought about it. And again, I met with coach. He was like, yeah, we're not going to throw the ball. I was like, oh, great. I'm not going to give you 16 hours a week busting my ass so that you can, run me on a bunch of cardio routes and use me as a blocker. So I never did play at a higher level than that. So, if you want my greatest, like 4th or 5th grade football highlight, I'll give it to you. But, my athletic endeavors were in other sports later on.
The sport that I played the most growing up was actually baseball. I played baseball for like 12 or 13 years. But anybody who played baseball a lot growing up knows how just toxic and unbearable it is in travel ball culture. And I just ended up, like, by the time I got to high school, I hated it. I couldn't do it anymore. So I just stopped playing. And I just focused on hockey because hockey, boy, when you're 15, 16 years old and you got anger issues, hockey's great. so I focused on that. And then I got to college and just did film school. But
there you go.
Yeah, travel ball is like Dance Moms for Boys. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It sucks. Travel ball, like I don't know if travel ball makes anybody a good person. Anybody involved. The kids, the parents, nobody.
No, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's gotten a lot worse, which is unfortunate because of all the kids, right? You go to some of those games and you're just like, man, lay off. Like, give the kid a break. He's 11, he's 12, he's 14, whatever. Like, come on.
Yeah. Hockey, where are you from, Brett? Southern California. Believe it or not, Southern California, vibrant hockey scene. Where do you think ASU, one of the best programs in the country, gets all of its talent?
Yeah.
Orange County, baby.
Yeah,
If you need water polo players or hockey players, we got you.
we got you.
Unless you go to modern day,
Uh,
then they have everything.
yeah.
Eric for $5. Thank you, Eric. Should Ballard and Bradley be the only changes the Colts make and give AR and Steichen at least 1 year? Not that I think it's going to happen. I would give AR and Steichen 1 more year for sure. It's definitely too early to get rid of Steichen. And I still think AR, like, just give him 1 more year, right? Because, again, he's so inexperienced. And, he was rehabbing this summer. So that affected obviously a lot of his preparation. Let him go into the offseason as healthy as he can be, do a full offseason. And if it doesn't work next year, it doesn't work next year. Fine. Now, that wouldn't stop me from doing like a day 3 lotto ticket just to, like, if shit goes real south in 2025. Like, I'm trying to think who would be like the day 3 lotto ticket in this year's class.
Oh, hang on.
Curtis Rourke, if we want to, just keep Indiana in Indiana. Like,
Uh,
you know,
hang
like,
on.
so, like, you could still do that. But I would give Steichen and AR 1 more year. Ballard, I don't think Ballard's going to make it. And I definitely don't think Gus is going to make it.
Yeah. Tyler, and I'm gonna mispronounce his last name. Show, the guy from Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be 26 years old, but he's 6'4",
He's
225.
26?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's been around a little bit, but he's got room to grow. We're talking about a day 3 prospect here. We're not talking about somebody to supplant AR as the starter from game 1. But if you're looking for a guy with tools and ability, and I'm not just talking about size, I'm talking about the ability to drive the ball on a line 25 yards flat, Steichen could look at that and go, I don't know, let me have a talk with him. I'll sit him down. His head's half decent, the arm's golden. Let's do it.
Chat said, Great Lakes Brewing Company is awesome. Love the hoodie. Yes. I love that you peeped that. Great Lakes Brewing.
Yes.
We actually got this from our clothing partner, Homage. They did a partnership with Great Lakes Brewing. So if you're a Great Lakes Brewing fan, you go to the link in the description. Literally anything you get at Homage, whether it's bootleg gear or Great Lakes gear or holiday gear or NFL gear or college gear, anything you get, we get a cut of it. So if you want a very comfortable hoodie that also directly supports the show, link in the description. Also,
Let's
good eye
go.
that you noticed that.
Yeah, no, Great Lake. They've done some great stuff with Great Lakes. They have T-shirts. They have the holiday hoodies. They've had a relationship with them as a brewer because they're relatively close geographically. Homage is in Ohio, and that relationship's been going on for a while. They make great stuff. I'm actually wearing an Homage. I don't know what this is, pullover that I got before we were ever sponsored ever by Homage. I bought it on closeout, and it was one of my favorite pieces, and it was one of the reasons we established a relationship with them, because I was like, they make great stuff, and I, strangely enough, have the bootleg T-shirt on underneath it. So it's the Homage double for me, or triple, I guess, since you're wearing your Great Lake stuff.
There is one thing that chat said that piqued my interest. Let's say Steichen, let's say Irsay pulls an Irsay and fires Steichen too.
Sure.
Would Jim consider bringing Steichen in beside Roman as the pass game coordinator? Do you think Roman would accept that?
I don't know if Roman would accept it, but he damn well should, because Steichen's pass concepts with Herbert and, insert round 1 wide receiver here. I would be here for that. Now, we obviously have an in at SoFi. We go to quite a few games there. I would be making excuses like, sure, it's a Thursday night, I'll fly down, whatever. This will be fun. I think Steichen should get another campaign in Indy. I want to see AR, hammer out some of those bad habits. He does have too many of them right now. But again, the upside is tantalizing as football guys. We want to see him operating at, the battle station at full capacity. Don't know that we're going to get there, but I would like to give them another shot to be able to do that if that didn't happen, and like you said, the owner goes on the unpredictable strike, um, yeah, that would be a very worthy add to their coaching staff.
Bob for $2 says, as a Minnesotan, the point of the cold is hockey. I'll say
Yep.
Minnesota cold is different than pretty much any other type of cold. Like Minnesota cold
Yeah.
is like I would say like Minnesota, Iowa, like the Dakotas, like just
Oh
where
yeah.
it's
International Falls, baby.
it's flat and it just
Yeah,
sits there.
prairie cold for
Oh my
sure.
god.
You said something about anger management issues, and we would wait for the ponds to freeze. When I was a kid, we would play boot hockey all the time. We could all skate, but we'd play boot hockey all the time on just little ponds, little family ponds. And as we would wait for them to freeze over enough that we could shovel them off and, put up a couple of nets and go for it. And the real point of boot hockey was to go out and beat the living hell out of each other. Like that was it. That was what it was for. It was nobody's keeping score. Nobody's
Just
putting
guys
puck
being
handling
dudes.
videos. That's right. Nobody putting puck handling videos up from boot hockey. It's about going out and getting out some aggression. So I feel you. I understand that waiting for that stuff to freeze over. Like TikTok, I got somebody's ass to beat. Let's go.
I just love these bots advertising streams as if this game isn't free to watch on Twitch already. Come on, what are we doing?
Bot's gonna bot.
Yeah.
All right, Chargers with the kickoff. Let's see how this goes.
All right. A little bit of 21 personnel to start.
Shocker.
Shocker, I know. But hey, they get
Nice
4 yards
call.
out of it. I'll consider that a success.
Yeah.
I don't know how many
Solid.
of those they're going to get tonight, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say yards before contact 0.5, yards after contact 3.5. All right. I'm going to put in my plug. I know people like these Chargers unis. There is no reason for them not to wear the dark blues like every fucking week.
Those like mid
These uniforms.
2000s. Yeah.
No, the new ones. They're officially the Color Rush ones, the navy, and they're basically all navy. I love those. They look like the Penske Sunoco Camaros that I watched growing up, and I love that color combination. I think it's elite. And I know people argue for the powder blues and whatever blue they call this because it's not really powder. But
Well, I'm
and
sure
there's
they're like,
fine.
oh, we're not going to wear dark blue against the Broncos, who also wear dark blue.
Make the Broncos wear white. I don't care. You're the home team. Declare it. We're doing it.
All right. Little toss play on 3rd and 3. Always love those east-west runs on short yardage. Oh, are we going to get bailed out by a flag?
We got a flag, but I don't know that it's not holding.
It might be holding. Yeah, and they gave it to Darius Davis, too. So,
There we go. All right. Well, really good showing. Again, we talked about the Broncos run defense pregame. That is what they have relied on, and they string this out almost completely.
God, look at Nick Benito. Just
No,
cause a
they just
pile up, get
crush
a
him.
2-for-1
Yep,
at the point of attack.
that's right.
He's so good.
He's like, I'm not going to get it, but I'm going to make it happen. And
Yeah.
that's what good run defense is about. It's not about individual effort in terms of I'm going to get the stat or I'm going to get the tackle or I'm going to make the highlight hit. It's about I need to fill my gap. And if I don't, everybody else is going to suffer.
And anytime you can get an edge that does a 2-for-1, like
Oh,
you're already mathematically at a disadvantage when you're running the ball as an offense unless you're doing it with the quarterback. So if they're +2 on you because your edge takes out 2 blockers, like you're good to go.
Yeah, the run looks about like that, which is the running
Yeah.
back going out to the edge, kind of stuttering and going, ah, damn it.
Also, maybe
All right,
don't give
so
the
Broncos
ball to
get
the 165-pound guy on 3rd down, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, EJ. We're fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Relax. Nothing to see here. Oh, Broncos going at it with a little power run game.
Tackle number 1 for Dayon. Let's go.
All right. I need to bring this up, not because I think it's the wisest choice, but because what the hell? Ashton Jeanty already wears blue and orange. He's used to it.
See, Ashton Jeanty would be such a Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman pick.
No.
However,
Blue and orange. I said blue and orange.
oh, well, also he already plays for the Broncos. So
No, we're not keeping the Broncos. You're missing the point entirely here.
that he plays for a blue and orange Broncos team and he should get drafted by a blue and orange Broncos team. Yeah.
No, that he should get drafted by a blue and orange team, but not a Broncos team. It's another B.
Oh, the other blue and orange team.
Yeah, the one nobody cares about because they suck this year. Well,
Well,
pretty
yeah,
much
no, a
everyone.
running back's going to fix everything, EJ. For sure.
I know. It is not a logical pick. It is an emotional pick.
Everybody knows that when your franchise can't block anybody, the way to fix that is to
That's
draft a
right.
running back.
Yeah, if you bring up Ashton Genty to any Bears fans, they're like, yeah, if they draft 2 interior offensive linemen, I'm down with it. I'm like, yeah, well, that's been kind of the case with the offense for the last 4 years. So, whatevs.
Oh, man. All right, let's see what we
All
got
right,
for second
Broncos
down.
grinding it out a little bit. Look at Peyton's play sheet. Top of the back. 3 exclamation points. Run it.
Gee, what are they going to do tonight?
I don't know. Shocker. Oh.
Boy,
See, at least Peyton's has a directive for what kind of plays he wants to run. Matt Nagy's just said be you.
whatever that
Obviously
means.
the you thing didn't work, so maybe you should run it.
Maybe be somebody else, Matt. Huh? Maybe be Andy Reid. Can you just pick Andy Reid for a couple weeks?
Oh, that would be funny if Matt Nagy's play sheet said be Andy. Except he would have been like Andy from Toy Story, not Andy from the Chiefs.
Just WWAD.
Yeah.
Oh, Bo sees something. Did he just flip the run call? He might have when he saw double twos.
Okay, this is going to put me in a very
Oh,
particular. Nice cut.
all right. I want to know what the original call was because Bo got them into that. As soon as he
Yep.
saw double twos, he's like, no.
Yeah, 60+ starts in college will let you see some things.
Great work at the line of scrimmage.
And look at, is that Vele? 17?
I think so.
I will double check.
As soon as he saw the double twos, he's like, all right, we're running split zone
Yep.
here.
Devon Vele. Oh, man. We called him out in the summer preview series as a player who I thought was a worthy addition and somebody to watch. And he has exceeded any of those expectations. He's been really, really good. Great quick trigger by Bo to get that ball out. That's the difference between a loss and a gain right there.
I'll tell
If
you
he
what.
doesn't know exactly where that ball's going, they end up losing 7 yards on that play, and instead they get a first down.
I have been extraordinarily impressed with Bo's improvement during the season because the first 6 weeks of the year were not good, right? And
No, they
even
did
Broncos
not look
fans would tell you that.
Yep.
But he had, I mean, we always say progression is not linear.
Yep.
It's been pretty linear for him for the last 10 weeks.
Yep. No, he definitely hit a point where he started playing, I would say, at an acceptable level where there were more pluses than minuses, and he has held that. He hasn't done the whole roller coaster thing. The roller coaster was the first 6 weeks, and once he sort of trimmed out, hit plane, and, started getting on throttle, it's been the same for him.
I think this is the second Broncos TNF game of the year and the first TNF game that we did. He was missing broadside of a barn. And I mean, Look at him now. He's just been great.
No, he understands the assignment, and I think he probably always did understand the assignment. What he didn't understand was everything else, the speed, the complexity of the defense. Sometimes that the defense will not show you what they're doing on purpose, even when you say motion to try and make them. They're like, nope, hold, hold.
Or
Okay,
they'll
now
give
we're
you a
gonna do it.
bait motion where it's like, oh, we're going to bait, like looking like we're in man, but we're still playing zone. We're just flipping responsibilities. But we're going to make you think
Yep.
we're in man because we're just going to follow the motion.
Yep. Great cut by Watson there. Really good job to follow where the line made him a very large hole. And Watson was one of those guys I was very confused about because I had a much higher value on him than apparently the league did. There might have been Might have been things I didn't know about in that evaluation, but as a player, I felt very similarly about him to a bunch of other players that preceded him at his university that were versatile, could run it, could catch it, were very dynamic in space, and yet ran with, some good authority. I was really surprised that he didn't get drafted higher.
Well, I just saw Jesse Minter going to tight front for the first time in this game, so he's clearly already getting tired of them being able to run the ball.
He's like, enough of that.
All right, now we're in 505, or no, 5 shade 5. So they're starting to get into the 3 down stuff because they were just getting gashed. Oh, are we calling unnecessary roughness on that hit? Really?
In this economy?
In this economy? There's no way. They saying he launched? Show me the replay. Oh, man. They are calling unnecessary roughness.
Foul.
I still need to see it, though.
Well,
I mean, the running back lowered. What do you want him to do?
Yeah, I mean, get lower than the running back.
What do you
the
want?
funny thing is, you should be able to call. I mean, the rules allow you to call that on the running back, and they never do.
They just find the running backs later, but they'll penalize the defensive player. And it's like, what?
Yeah, I've seen it called on a running back like one time in the last 5 years. Oh, right side of the Broncos line erased the Chargers. Like, not even close. Yeah, Jim is probably beside himself. What the
I would be too.
hell
This is
happened there?
just ridiculous.
You should be. Watch. Oh, this is a great shot to show this. Watch the right side. Just completely pinned. Nobody there. I mean, yeah, Estime gets credit for that, but Miners is just in a phone booth fight, and from there on out, they seal him really, really well.
Problem is, Bosa slanted inside because I think they were trying to bring somebody off the edge, and they just caught him in the slant and ran right into it.
Yep. And they were more than happy to wall that off. That's catching him in the wrong call. Good execution. Estime with one of the easier touchdowns he's ever going to get.
That's a great game plan, too, by Peyton, because he's the type of OC that's going to look at, okay, what are all my first down low red zone calls for Minter? And if he sees like, okay, we're gonna slant the D line and then use a nickel or a safety or a linebacker wrapping the outside as contained, we're gonna run power, or we're gonna run dart or counter right into it, catch them in the slant because they're gonna pin themselves, and then we just have to do a big body on a little body on the edge, and there you go.
Yeah. No, it's when you catch tendencies in film work and basically counter that with your calls, and it works early, can give you a really solid advantage. And that didn't look particularly hard for the Broncos. No. I'm actually surprised at the ease of that drive for Denver. Not because Denver's a bad offense, but because the Chargers have been a very good defense all season long, and they just got rolled. Like, they just got rolled right down the field. So
Jeremiah McIntyre for $20. Who are some of your favorite all-time Chargers players? I still don't understand how Antonio Gates wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yes, Antonio Gates should be in the Hall of Fame. The hard part is there's such a log jam, and I think that people treat Antonio as part of the receiver log jam and not as, top 5 all-time tight end. I think people they treat him like he should be in the same logjam with Andre and Isaac Bruce and all those guys, right? And so that was unfair to him. But that's just, I think, what happened. He almost certainly will get in this year. I'd be stunned if he didn't. You can't keep him out for multiple years, right?
Yep.
As for favorite all-time Chargers players, Junior
Hmm.
Seau gotta be up
Yep.
there. I would say Phil for sure. Like, I think Phil is just one of my favorite players to watch ever. He was just such a unique quarterback, a unique personality.
Yep.
Vincent Jackson for sure.
Yep. I'm gonna go
Let's,
Natron Means.
okay.
Uh, he was he was just a lot of fun to watch. He had a very particular, not only running style but also aesthetic. LaDainian Tomlinson goes without saying. I mean, talking about Hall of Fame players that it's fun to watch them no
Oh
matter
yeah,
where they are.
LT
But
LT's for sure.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
just we'll just toss him in there. Um, but Sean Merriman,
Merriman, Nick
ton of
Hardwick.
fun.
If you like
Oh
center play,
yeah,
Nick Hardwick's a great one.
yeah, that's a really good call. Yeah,
Corey Leggett for like a little stretch there,
yeah,
like
right.
early 2010s Corey
That's
Leggett,
that's the litmus test for whether or not people watch line play, right?
right?
Uh, it's the you and I share Carl Davis, but
Uh-huh.
Corey Leggett, like sure, he
Hey
had
man,
a
he was really
dominant
good for like a 4 to
he had
5
a
year period.
dominant small stretch,
Yeah.
and that's one of the most fun things about football in general is dominant small stretch.
Let's go,
Let's let the
300-pound
fullback,
fullbacks, baby.
yeah, let's let the fullback rumble. He's like, forget eligible. I am eligible. I don't have to report.
Ooh, Darren Sproles. That
Oh, for
counts.
sure.
That counts.
No, Sproles is amazing.
Turn
No,
of the
I mean
burner.
any franchise you go back through, there's a ton of fun players who, either they were your favorite players because you're a fan of that team and they were, when you became a fan of that team or while you were growing up or growing in your fandom, those were the players that you gravitated towards, or all-time greats, Hall of Famers, Ring of Honor guys, or just players that had a particular way of going about their business, offense or defense, that you just really like. There's always a handful of those as well. So, and the Chargers are no different than any other franchise. Ton of players that fit those categories for them as well that are a lot of fun.
There we go. Just adjusting the stream a little bit there. Philip got to be the best retired quarterback to never play in a Super Bowl, right? Ooh, yeah, never winning a Super Bowl, never playing in a Super Bowl, or two.
Ooh, great
There we go.
cut.
Bye.
That's what Roman wants.
Kimani Vidal, baby. Let's go.
That's
Troy's
right.
finest.
Let's
Troy's
go.
finest. As for best quarterback to never play in a Super Bowl,
Oh, I
Phil would
have to see the
obviously
list.
be up there.
Yeah.
God, because there's so many AFC quarterbacks that never went to one because of Tom Brady's existence, right?
Yeah. What's the reason? Because Tom Brady.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I would default to saying yes, Rivers is probably the best to never even make it, but I would also have to look at a list of who never made one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Eckler.
Dan Fouts never made one. That's a good one.
Gotta say Eckler too, just as a Chargers player. Like
Oh
as
yeah.
one of the players that I just love watching because just competed so hard. Was on a lot of teams that weren't necessarily great. And just love him as a player.
Cunningham and Warren Moon. Yeah. They'd be up there as well.
Yep.
Especially Warren.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Warren won a lot of things, including Grey Cups.
Yeah. He won all the other championships.
Yep. And if we're going way, way back, Charlie Joyner. So Charlie Joyner was at the end of his career when I was becoming an NFL fan. Like last, I would say 3 years of his career were when I was really starting to pay attention to the NFL, become a Bears fan, whatever else. But Charlie Joyner was that guy. And, honestly, he reminded me of Keenan at that point in his career, right? He was super savvy, wasn't the burner anymore, but he could fool anybody. Great hands, great routes. And to see Keenan come along and sort of follow in his footsteps in a lot of ways was eerie in some ways.
Oh, what a ball from Herbert. Oh, man.
What a rip.
Oh, and they're going to call it back too, aren't they? Shit. That was such a good ball. My
Yeah,
God.
it was a great catch too, which we have not been able to say about Chargers wide receivers a lot of times this year.
Oh, it's a penalty on defense. I thought it was on offense. I thought they called him for a hold. I mean, as far as like aesthetically pleasing balls go,
Keep that going.
aesthetically pleasing throws go.
And he's not even drinking, folks. Coffee does not count. Oh boy. Oh, tough run. Gets him close.
Ages for $2. Just found out the Oklahoma State quarterback is from my high school class. That's big time. To have the Okie State quarterback in your high school class. I'm curious. Did you have a big high school football program, or is this one of those like best player we've ever produced, play D1 type situations? Because I always love to see that when like a high school that like hasn't produced anybody before all of a sudden like sends a kid to like OU, Oklahoma State, Texas, out of nowhere. It's great.
And
Oh,
second
Gus
effort
got
got him
in
in.
there. They called him short?
I don't think that's going to hold up on replay.
Oh
I
no,
think that's
they called a touchdown.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. Strangely enough, my bartender over at my local walked on as a linebacker at Oklahoma State.
No shit. What year?
Good question, but
How old are they? Like Brandon Whedon era Oklahoma State, or
I'm guessing a little further back because hang on. I'll tell you in a second.
oh, did he say one of his teammates was a certain player?
Yeah. Well, actually,
In the meantime, Henry Woodmansey for $5. Thank you, Henry. Commie fan and fan of the show. Benjamin Morrison to the commies. I feel like we have to address corner first, then IOL next, but I would like either. Not super, again, early on in the process, have not dove into Morrison. Have dove in to Jade Barron, who we're going to talk about in the pod this week, Thorpe Award winner from Texas, who I would love to put him on the Commanders. He is such a Dan Quinn type of DB in the sense that, and Dan loves to have corners that can get up there and play press, but also if you play an off-man coverage, he loves guys who can just put their foot in the ground and drive on the ball. And Jade Barron, his short area explosiveness, whether he's in a pedal or if he's playing a soft squat or he's doing the whole like T-step and drive thing, his short area explosiveness is like so Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland coded. Like he is exactly what Dan Quinn loves in a corner. He can also play inside. Obviously, they just drafted a nickel last year, and Sanders still's played better outside recently, but like ideally his long-term spot is nickel. So I would love Barron as an outside corner for them. Or if you feel like corner is fine, which I still don't think it is, you can play him at safety. Like you can play him anywhere. So like Jade Barron for me, like as soon as I watched him, I got through 2 games. That's like my first pass on all these guys is 2 games. And I was like, this guy is so Dan Quinn. But I will be going into Morrison at some point. And then IOL next. Yeah, day 2 is going to be littered with him, I'd bet.
so answer is probably 03 to 06.
Is when he went?
Yeah, strangely enough, his high school quarterback was Matt Flynn.
No shit.
Yep. They both ended up here in the Northwest after Flynn got traded from the Packers to the Hawks.
How about that?
And then Russell Wilson happened, so Matt Flynn became the Seahawks quarterback that never did.
He got like $50 million. He's fine.
He's thrilled.
Probably about a
it.
nice house out in Woodby, and he's just chilling.
Yep. But no, Matt Flynn was his high school quarterback, and then he went and walked on at Oklahoma State.
They got Mr. Beast at the game tonight.
Yeah, well, he's got a show on after this,
and then he's got a court date right after that. So busy man.
Big week for Mr. Beast.
Speaking of human trafficking, no, it's a bad
Speaking
transition.
speaking of court dates, I was like, what haven't you told me?
Max Robinson for $10. Long time no see, boys. Thursday nights are work nights this year, unfortunately. That's right.
Oh,
We haven't seen you as much, Max. Last time I was here, DA was still in charge of New Orleans. Thank God that's over. Do we think Mickey is also on the way out? Mickey just
uh,
seems untouchable at this point. He
yeah,
shouldn't be, but he seems
he's made of
untouchable.
yeah, he's made of Teflon at this point. His relationship with the ownership group is extremely tight, and whenever you have that relationship, I'm not saying it's completely impenetrable. I'm just saying it is much harder to displace a GM who has the favor of the folks that own the football team.
Boy, there's just been so much wrong over the last decade. Oh, what a
I,
tackle.
yeah, that is a really tough one-on-one tackle on a guy that does not usually give up to one-on-one tackles, Javonte Williams, but great tackle, hit him right in the thigh.
This is a family program, Brett.
Only
You know what's not a family
occasionally.
program? Beast games. You want to see people get their bodies absolutely fucking destroyed? Watch Beast games. Oh my god. It's like they decided, okay, we're gonna make Wipeout, but in the most problematic way possible. How about that?
Oh, Bo skips one. Had him too. That's his boy, Troy Franklin. Brett's favorite receiver in the last draft.
I love that became such a narrative of like I
Yeah.
was like, oh, Brett hates Troy Franklin because I
Yep.
like didn't have him in the first round. They went in the fourth round. And I
Yep.
was like, no. I was just in the right spot the whole time.
Yeah. I liked him. I didn't love him. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. No, it's funny because I think that's really a byproduct of the sports discourse era that we're in. If you say that someone is not your favorite, you automatically hate them. There's no nuance, there's no in between. Oh, nice
Oh,
run
I,
by Bo.
I, I had a lot of that today because I tweeted out the Texans, made the right pick on Stingley over Sauce.
Oh
All
yeah, I
these
saw that.
Jets fans got super mad about it, and it's like I never said that Sauce wasn't a great player. I just said Stingley's better, and the Jets fans are
That's
getting real. They're like, oh, he's a two-time All-Pro in his first 2 years. It's like, yeah, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
if you're
I
telling me,
I
like,
really
if
feel
the
like
Jets called up the Texans right now and said, we'll do a one-for-one swap, we'll give you Sauce and we get Stingley, the Texans would immediately hang up the phone. So, like, what
I
are we
just
doing
think
here?
it's to me it really feels like let's have a best of three. Like Sauce won the first year, hands down. Stingley's winning the second year, hands down. It's not close. Like, all right, so what happens when you do that? Like, you go best out of three. Like,
Well, this is the third year, and Sauce obviously was amazing as a rookie, and Stingley was mostly hurt as a rookie. And then Sauce got All Pro in his second year. I still think Stingley was better, even though Sauce got All Pro last year. And then obviously this year,
mm,
Stingley's been the best corner in football. And so it's like, and again, like I'm not saying that Sauce is not a great player. Like obviously the Jets are
no,
very happy with the pick. I'm saying that if they were up at 4 and Sting was gone again, like Sauce would still be the pick. They were still correct. But
yeah.
the Texans were also correct, was my point. And there were so many people that were giving Houston shit for
Well,
for
everybody was really worried about the injuries. I think that was the complete book on Stingley, and it remains to be is like when he's healthy, look out. He has otherworldly ability as a corner, and we've seen that. We've seen that in the last couple of weeks. So as long as he stays healthy, if he's one of those guys that was hurt a bunch in college and stays healthy in the pros, and there've been a bunch of those guys, like he's going to have a great, not good, great NFL career. And so it's not a bad pick. It's not a wrong pick. A lot of people were very concerned about the level of draft pick they invested with the history of injury. And they were like, that's a big risk. They obviously felt very comfortable with it medically, made the pick, and it's worked out for him and he stayed healthy. Let's hope he continues to, because that guy healthy is a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
I love it when people get annoyed about, milk toast, even keeled middle of the road takes, and then you give one where like you feel very passionate about it even though it's not middle of the road, and then they get all mad about it. It's like,
No,
it's like,
no winning. Nice shot
what
to
do
the
you
ball,
want?
Bailey. Broncos are on a nice little drive here to end off the first quarter. Again, running the ball very effectively. Bo Nix outside of the short hop to Franklin, hitting shots to keep them moving on the road. Big game. I think he's played as well as you would hope he can against a Minter defense. Drove right down, got a touchdown to open up the scoring. That's what we've seen from Bo Nix over the past 6 to 7 weeks says to me he's going to be just fine. He might be a middle of the road NFL quarterback, but one that you can win with. That's not a backhanded compliment.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And for where they picked him and what they needed him to be, because look, there's no backup plan. Like it was Nix or bust. Like Nix had to be good.
Yeah.
He had to be good.
If he wasn't good, everybody was going to get fired.
That's right. And he had to be, and he has been, and that is a success in its own right.
JJ for $2. How many Boise State players would start in Chicago? Genty would, for sure.
For sure. There's a couple offensive linemen. I don't care who they are. They probably would just because they're healthy.
Are they alive? Great. They'll start.
Right. Pulse? Check.
Other than that, the Bears roster is pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know that there would be a lot of other players that would. There'd be a few. Hey, I guarantee Boise State's got a returner.
Probably have a better coach.
Probably have a shot. Oh, yeah. Well, there's that.
Eric for $5. Broncos running backs had 45 rushing yards against the Colts in the game. They had 43 yards in the first drive of this game. All right. Well, that tells you why Sean said run the ball.
Yeah, run it. And he's stuck to that so far. Again, we're only 1 quarter in, but it's nice to see him establish it. It's going to help Bo. A lot of people underestimate how much running the ball effectively helps a young quarterback, helps any quarterback, but certainly a young quarterback to get in the rhythm, knowing they don't have to shoulder it on every down, on every throw. And even the throws still get divided. We talk about this all the time. Play action, schemed, passes that are basically runs in terms of different screens. Like every drop back is not a true drop back, read the field pass. If you're running the ball effectively and spreading your offense around and have that diversity and it's effective and you don't need to go away from it, it's a huge help to a quarterback to say, hey, we're only going to need you to really rip it a couple of times this quarter. We're going to rely on you to do that, but it's not going to be, 70% of the downs. That's when you get in trouble with a quarterback, especially a young quarterback, saying, look, it's all on your shoulders 7 times out of 10. It is a clean drop back. You're going to have to read the field and do the right thing. And, oh, yeah, by the way, don't throw a pick or take a sack. Good luck. Bye.
Yeah. Jeff Medelson for $5. What's the concern level for the Steelers after the loss versus Philly? Pickens still out, and the offense looks bad without him. TJ minor injury, limping into the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. The Steelers have always been the team in the AFC that had the smallest margin for error, like even smaller than KC. Just because they're so reliant on their edge rushers generating turnover opportunities to give themselves extra possessions, because their offense tends to need extra possessions with better field position off turnovers to score. And George Pickens is their big play threat. So without your main big play threat and without your best edge rusher that helps generate all these turnovers and short fields, like that, that basically forces the Steelers to play you straight up, and they can't do that. So yeah, like there is a level of concern for Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
That's a great ball to Cortland.
And ding, ding, ding. That's Cortland's second?
Second, yeah. So he's got 22 receiving yards, 43 to go on this game. But God, look at this ball. Look at that layered throw on the move.
Yep. And pulls him away from contact. I deeply appreciate that. That is threw it away from the defender. Defender never really had a play on it anyways, but he still threw it to the inside. Not far enough behind him that he couldn't catch it, but that's protecting your receivers. It lets your receiver, if he's smart, know that he should slow up and that there's somebody to his outside.
God, we're in the middle of an Audric Estime legacy game here, folks.
Maybe.
Let's go. Yeah, high level of concern for the Chargers at this point, because if you're asking the Chargers to keep up blow for blow offensively, they're not built to do that.
No, and Pickens was really the straw that stirred the drink there, and he wasn't until Russell came in and started throwing moonballs down the sideline to get chunk yardage, which allowed the underneath throws to Freiermuth and the Najee runs and everything else to be complementary. Because if that's all you got and you don't have the chunk plays, nobody's afraid of you. They're gonna load the short areas, and that's it. So Pickens was always the thing that scared people after Russell Wilson showed up and said, "Yeah, I'll bomb it down there because he's going to make good on it." And when that very particular tent pole gets broken, like the rest of the offense kind of collapses back to what it was, which is dink and dunk, and we'll try and grind it down the field in 12, 14-yard drives. And you can't always do that, and especially not against playoff defenses. So, yeah, the concern meter should be way up there because they really staked their revival and their hopes on that connection, Russ to Pickens for big plays. And everything else would be the fill-in. Oh, man, I love that so much.
Did you see how Bo was just like, get to the window, get to the window, get to the window, and then I'll throw it to you? He waited as long as he could.
He was just like, I got it. I'm going to wait till this is the easiest throw I can possibly make. There it is. Just completely calm. That does not look like a rookie quarterback, folks. No panic at all.
And if you watch this, and this is kind of the value of Bo's mobility, because he is a good athlete. You could see, if he couldn't run, if he wasn't a mover, right? Then Thule would have had an angle to knock down that throw the entire time. But Bo is fast enough that he was able to kind of get ahead of Thule's angle to make that a makeable throw. So I know Bo isn't known as being like a super mobile guy, but he does have running ability, and that's what gave him that window.
I'm telling you, I was at the Pro Day in Eugene, and the thing that obviously we'd seen a ton of Bo Nix by that point. So many games. That's the storied thing about scouting Bo, is that he had all these games in college. First time seeing him live in person was at the Pro Day, and first impression was, man, he's really well built. Like, he is a big, solid dude. I'm not worried about him taking hits. In the pros, he, muscular, moves well, whatever. The second thing is, holy cow, he's pretty twitchy. Like, he's explosive for his size, and he moves explosively. It's not just that he has it, it's that he uses it. When he, is driving 5-step drops, he is bang, 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 back foot, twist, right? You see the sort of athletic explosion in all of his movements. And I came away from the Pro Day thinking, man, he's kind of a wound up athlete. He's just a big, strong dude that happens to be playing quarterback. Good speed, good arm strength. Like, he's got, I think, when people talk about tools, I don't know that Bo Nix is the first name that jumps to everybody's mind, but coming away from the Pro Day, just watching him move, watching him, stretch for handoffs, watching him drive through his whole passing drill, I was like, he moves explosively. He is a strong, fast athlete, and that's going to serve him really well in a league full of strong, fast athletes.
Hockey says, speaking of throwing into contact, Dylan Gabriel looks like he's actively trying to kill his receivers about 15% of the time. You're not incorrect.
Yeah. Different experience going to the OU Pro Day this year, I think.
I always forget that you Pacific Northwesterners call Oregon OU.
Ah, yes.
Meanwhile, every Oklahoman is like, hey.
No, I get it. And, somebody from Wisconsin says UW, and I'm like, nah. UW is the Huskies. You can be Wisconsin.
South Carolinians and Southern California.
Yeah, USC. I'm like, I think somebody has rights to that. I really do.
My favorite is every time Clemson and LSU play, it's Tiger versus Tiger. And they both play in Death Valley. And we're like, guys, this... can't do this.
It's a home and home.
Gabriel watched nothing but Manning passes to Austin Collie, apparently.
Say it isn't so. Say it isn't so. Just for whoever he throws to at the next level. Like, say it isn't so.
And
That receiver has a family.
Tez is like a buck 60. Actually, his family, by the way, is Bo Nix. Tez is like, because it's Tez Johnson, right? The Oregon receiver.
Yeah.
His
Lightning in a bottle.
high school coach, for people that don't know, was Bo Nix's dad. They were Bo and Tez were on the same team in high school, and for all intents and purposes, Bo's family adopted Tez. I don't think they ever did the official paperwork, but he lived there, and like Bo and Tez like consider each other brothers. I want to say he went to Troy and then transferred into Oregon to play with Bo. And
Tez
I'll tell you what,
a lot of fun.
He's going to get drafted by Denver.
He was at the pro day, so it's not uncommon, but it's not super common. Usually, the pro day, if there are enough players in the class who are leaving, those are the players involved in the workout. They don't often bring players who are going to be returning unless they're short receivers or linemen or whatever else. Then some underclassmen will get invited to come and show out, especially guys that are looking to get drafted the next year to get eyes on in front of NFL scouts who were there for the day. Tez was the only wide receiver in the Oregon Corps during Bo Nix's throwing session that was an underclassman. All the rest were seniors. And yeah, you'd seen enough of them on film, but you're like, man, that guy is not very big. Oh man, that guy's really fast.
He can move.
Like, yeah, you're like, okay, that's the trump card. Got it. Okay, he could just outrun people, and you see that on tape as well. But again, in person, no pads on, just shells. He can flat out fly.
He's going to get a lot of Tank Dell comps. I think it's a different skill set than Tank Dell, but like body type, obviously similar.
Yeah. Sure, I would say frame size for sure. Receiver profile, I think that might be a lazy comp. Oh, nice ball.
Oh no, definitely a lazy comp. Like they don't play similarly. They're just similar shapes.
Are we continuing the pushing the Stone Smart agenda here?
He's come on though. Not gonna lie.
For the third year, he's coming. He's coming. He's gonna come on. He came on. Look at that. No, I'm happy for him. For years, if you don't know, Stone Smart has been the talk of Chargers camp largely. Look, he's big. He's really smart. Former quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody was like, he understands the game. He's great skill set. He's going to be the guy. Hasn't really happened. Seen a few fits and starts. And all of a sudden, over the last month, due to a little bit of attrition in the Chargers receiving corps, Stone Smart has had a starring turn. And, a lot of people are like, oh, overnight success. You're like, overnight success. That took 3 years. It's a good thing for the Chargers. They absolutely needed him to step up, and he has.
All right. 2nd and 7 in the red zone. Chargers are hanging in here, man.
Yeah, this is starting to be trading blows at this point. Really thought this was going to be much more of a defensive struggle.
They've only really done that once this year, and that was against Cincy, which is a bad defense. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL. So, so far, this is the best offensive, as far as like opponent adjusted offensive performances go. This is the best one of the year.
Yeah, and we expected these defenses to lock it down. In fact, one of the first comments in the entire stream when I got here was bet the unders on everything. And I was like, that's really solid advice given, what we're looking at on the field. But strangely enough, funny thing happened on the way to the football field. Paper and dirt, two different things. And we've got two offenses that are finding ways to march up and down the field on what are both very good defenses.
Oh, what a play. Zach Allen.
Right there. Yep. So it doesn't count as a sack, but I'll take it as an impact, explosive defensive play any day.
Watch him knife in there. See. Oh, man.
Great jump.
He just completely blew past Jamari. God, he's so good. He is so good.
Yeah, when he gets that kind of twitch, you're not going to stop him because physically he's got a lot of tools, a lot of length, good leverage, very strong. But with that kind of jump, like you're not stopping him.
DG slander will not be tolerated by Max Robinson for $2. Which DG? Darius Geis? Which DG? I can't even remember what I said 2 minutes ago. So.
Right. You're asking a guy whose focus is somewhat limited to basically show off his recall.
Oh, man. Max Robinson for $5. Speaking of sex trafficking, what a start to a super chat.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Then immediately reading my super chat is insane. Just the way Mickey was defending DA after he got fired felt really weird. I'm out. Yeah, Mickey, if there was ever a time that he was going to get retired, it would be now, because they have an opportunity to totally reset and then tank for Arch. But part of me thinks that they're just going to put Mickey in charge of the tank for 2025. And then, maybe he'll have the opportunity to retire when they take Arch.
Yeah, whenever anyone leaves a situation, this is a player, coach, general manager, whatever, even owners, which is much more rare. Like the laundry comes out. People are waiting to get those stories out in the press. And the ones that were sort of in the folder for Dennis Allen were not flattering. And it is usually tough to weather that. In most organizations, the head coaching hire would be a reflection on the general manager, and you get maybe two of those. I feel like Mickey he's untouchable at this point, right? He's a made dude. He's just like, coaches come, coaches go. I just keep being the GM. Like, if for some reason that relationship is not as direct in that particular organization, and normally it would be. Like, normally when a coach is getting fired, it's like, let's talk about how the GM brought him in and didn't support him, and those two are linked. You don't hear that. I didn't hear that at all with Dennis Allen and his leaving, and even with all the negative stories, like nobody ever said, and this really shines a bad light on Mickey. Like nobody said that.
Oh, it's Dylan Gabriel. That's DG. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I literally forgot what I was saying 2 minutes before.
Well, sure. There's a lot of Dexter Gordon. So a lot of DGs, but Dylan Gabriel's slander will not be tolerated. Okay. Might be a rough draft season for you.
Oh, he's going to get slandered.
There's going to be some of it out there for sure. Just saying. If that's the slander you want to die on the hill for, sharpen up your sword. You're going to be up top.
You are not going to enjoy Twitter for a solid 3 months. And I'll say this: like EJ and I were right there on the field at Elite 11 this past summer, watching him go through throwing sessions. This was right after he had transferred into Oregon, so he hadn't played yet. Throws a really nice ball. Throws a very catchable ball. But boy, he is small. Like, I know what he's listed at. He's smaller than that. Like, he is a small dude. To the point where there was a lot of, like, 16 and 17-year-olds on the field that were way bigger than him. And I was like, he's going to play in the NFL? Like, again, throws a really nice ball, but I worry that the first time Jeffrey Simmons hits him, he will die. So that's my one thing with him. If he was like 6 foot 205, I could live with it. He's not that.
You know who else threw a really nice ball? Very catchable.
Who?
Ellen Moore.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Dylan Gabriel's about to be an OC in a few years, but
wouldn't put it past him.
God, he's just not a big guy.
Well, when you're looking at guys who are on that field, who are high schoolers, who are, like you said, 16, 17, and they're 6'4", 233, and you can tell they're still growing because like their bottom half is fully developed and looks like a linebacker, and their top half looks like a sophomore high school basketball player. you're talking to their dad and he's like, oh yeah, he's grown 4 inches in the last year. He's put on like 45 pounds in the last year. And you're like, and he's 17. Like, he's not done growing. He's not going to be done growing until he's 22, probably 21, 22 minimum. Like, and he's already dwarfing, guys like Dylan Gabriel. You're like, it's interesting because we were at Elite 11. That's where we saw him passing camp. And they bring back alums of the passing camp to be counselors. And Dylan Gabriel was one of those. And there's 3 or 4 every year that they invite back to basically help instruct the next class. And, there's 3 or 4 guys hanging out at the middle of the field. I'm guilty. Like, you used to football players, numbers, helmets, whatever. And a couple of guys standing around. I was like, who's that? Somebody's like, that's Dylan Gabriel. And I was like, oh.
It's like, I thought he was somebody's younger brother.
Yeah, I was like, because there's all kinds of folks on the field. And I was like, that's the Dylan Gabriel? Yeah. He's an alum counselor. And I was like, okay. And again, they have the counselors face off during the, with the current crop.
Yeah, he threw it better than Klubnik was also there too, I think, right? And he threw it better than him.
Yeah, and they have him face off against the quote unquote students in a really cool little passing drill inside the 20, little fades to the pylon and stuff. And again, he threw it really well. Oh, he got by him.
There goes Marvin.
Let's go, Mims.
Defense optional.
If you weren't
tonight.
aware, this is a pro Mims podcast.
We knew it was always in there, right?
Yep.
Because as soon as Sean took him, we're like, all right, that's his Devery Henderson. It took a while to get there, but I think we're starting to get there.
Little scoot right there. It's that little bit of juice right as he turns the corner. Able to keep his speed through the change of direction right there. 3 driving steps takes him by 2 Chargers, and then after that, it's all gravy. Yeah.
He's a very, very good return man, and obviously just great after the catch. Oh, it's right there, Bo.
No, they did.
Oh, no. He had it.
Oh, Javonte. They did basically they did a window dressing version of the play before. Like,
they had it.
They set it up completely different personnel. It's the same thing. It's the same look.
Dude, there's so many people that are going to lose in the fantasy playoffs because of that.
Oh, he put it right on his hands, too.
I mean, I get it. It was high, but still, you got to
catch that. You got to catch that ball. And there was nobody on him. Like, there's nobody, swatting at his hands. I would get it. Running back, if that's the case. Oh, man.
There we go. Vele.
Yeah, I just love that Bo comes right back after, what we consider a bad drop that was clearly going to be a touchdown. Throws one on the next play. Like, nope. Next play, let's go. Again, that's that experience showing through. He's been there. He's done that. Receivers have done that to him before. Like, he didn't care. He's like, nope, line it up, listen up. This is what we're doing. We're going to score on the next one. That is a veteran-type presence that you don't get from a lot of rookie quarterbacks, and a lot of them are going to be shook or pissed. Okay, what do we got? We got a flag.
On who?
I don't know. Waiting to find out. Really good route by Vele. Cut that inside. Sell that inside. I'm coming across. Get the safety back on his heels, and then just bend it to the outside. Make yourself available.
All right.
Broncos, real good effort against this Chargers defense. I am impressed. Putting up 21 in the first half is not what I had on my bingo card, and they've made it look. I mean, again, this is sometimes it's some crazy return, blah blah blah. They've made this look like business as usual. That's impressive against this defense.
Because it's not just 21 first half points; it's 21 first half points against the Chargers. Like, it's
correct.
A good defense.
Yep.
So that's tough. It's tough to do. I don't know if anybody's done that this year.
Oh, we said this a couple weeks ago that the Broncos, if they kept playing well and Bo kept sort of ascending, were a team that nobody was going to want to play because the defense was so good. They have lots of weapons on offense, and now that the offense was starting to click through the quarterback position, they were going to be that team that didn't necessarily have the greatest record, but you didn't want to come up against them in December or January. And boy, does that look true right now.
Kel for $5 says, "What is the most inappropriate Christmas gift you've given?" For me, it's hookers and blow save Christmas. Now my 6-year-old nephew's favorite story. I need to see what hookers and blow save Christmas looks like.
Oh, that is completely lovely. Yep, that's impressive. Most
It's just Tommy
inappropriate
Lee
gift.
on the cover. Like,
Well, if you're going to have celebrity endorsements, you got to go with authenticity.
he probably wrote the damn thing.
A consultant at the very least.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I almost want to
I
get
don't
that for my nephew,
just
future nephew.
yeah. I was gonna say worldly it is. That's how we're choosing Christmas gifts. I don't tend to buy a lot of inappropriate Christmas gifts. I don't tend to buy a ton of Christmas gifts in the first place. I'm trying to think. I must have done something at work at one point when I was like surveying. I'm sure that I did.
Oh yeah, because I mean, if you work in the trades, I'm sure you guys
Oh,
give the most
yeah, no.
ridiculous shit.
Yeah, no, especially let's just call it interagency gifts between like pile bucks and I heard Sparky's was derogatory, which is really weird to me
Sparky's
because
is derogatory
I
for
I
electricians.
didn't think so. Yeah, electricians. I was like, wow.
I thought
I
that's
called
just
a
what
lot
you
of people.
call them.
I called a lot of people Sparkies. They didn't seem to hate it too much. So if you're an electrician out there in the comments and I was saying a terrible thing about you all those years,
So
I
what would
deeply
you
apologize.
call pipe fitters? My whole in-laws side of the family is just a bunch of fitters.
Oh, I mean, uh, depends on whether or not we like them. I anyways, if you work on a construction job site around the holidays, there are both lots of inappropriate gifts and crown is the currency. Like if somebody does you a solid on a job site, you repay them with a bottle of crown. Like that is it's ubiquitous.
Is
It's
it
like the
a
euro.
basic bottle or like one of the nicer
No,
like?
you just get them a bottle of Crown because nobody wants to be seen as putting on airs on a construction site. So Crown is like the nice stuff that is tolerate. Now, people might have nicer taste than that, but you wouldn't gift that to them on the site because somebody might see that.
Crown
Like if you got
is
somebody
good
a
though,
bottle
I
of,
will say.
yeah, I mean, as a basic, it's very solid. And again, it's like that's what it is. It's top end solid, right? So everybody will accept it. So if somebody like as a surveyor, like if we were in a place and there were a bunch of pieces of equipment that we couldn't move and we needed to work there and we went and found, some operator that would move them for us, and, saves us several hours or half a day or whatever, like, yeah, that guy's getting a bottle of Crown because the next time I ask him to do something, like he's going to remember, yeah, I spent 15 minutes saving these guys ass and they gave me a bottle of Crown for it. Like, okay, cool.
All right, Justin driving, trying to make it a 4-point game here,
He's got
which is
plenty of time to do it. I mean, it's if they come back and throw a touchdown in here, like this is one of the better TNF games we've seen.
well, I was going to say it might have already hit the over.
Yeah, I don't think the over was super high given these
No.
defenses. So the fact that they're just basically trading scoring drives is a little shocking. Again, after like the first drive, which was a 3-and-out for the Chargers, we've seen really good ball movement on all the drives. Oh,
Justin, that's a lot of dip on that chip there. My
yeah, he
goodness.
was thinking he had it, and holy crap,
And
Brandon Jones.
and he was testing Pat too.
Yeah,
Like you
this
want to
is
you want to try a whole
that's
shot against
oh
Sertan.
oh man. Okay, so Brandon Jones was a guy that I tagged in the scouting process coming out of Texas. He did not have a lot of love as a collegian. He was definitely a draftable prospect, but I really felt like he was end of day two type of guy. And maybe even better than that, given the right situation. And a lot of people thought I was loony for that.
Miami, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so when he signed on with the Broncos, I had a couple Broncos people reach out to me and they're like, well, you're a Jones guy. Like, is this a thing? And, we've had really good safeties here. We have high standards. And I was like, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by what Jones gives you. Not the biggest name, but plays above his reputation when it comes down to it. Plays like that. Yeah, one of the reasons. There are many reasons, but that's one of the reasons I liked him is yeah, very, very solid safety, better range. Again, we're talking about Bo Nix being an athlete. Like, he's a good athlete. A lot of people said, oh, he's a big guy, he's a hitter, he's kind of like a linebacker, just playing in a safety package. I was like, yeah, but he can run a little bit too. If you need him to cover a faster tight end, like, he could do it at the college level. I think he could stretch and do it at the pro level. Just a really, really good player and kind of one of the glue players you need on an NFL team. You're not going to pay top dollar for him, but you're going to count on him. He's a starter for them. He's been extremely solid this year. One of the reasons the back end of that defense is hanging together as well as it does.
We got a super chat from Glenn for $10. Thank you, Glenn. How would you all handle the Chiefs O-line going into 2025? Love the content, guys. Happy holidays. First things first, pay Trey Smith. I don't care what the number is. Pay Trey Smith.
Can't do it. Can't do it. It's too much.
I don't care. I know you want him in Chicago. They need to pay Trey Smith. Like,
I know what they need to do. I just hope they don't do it because, well, then I need the Bears to do what they're supposed to do, and they're not going to. And then two things aren't going to happen.
Also, you think the Bears are going to pay a guard $21 million? It's the
Bears.
Better.
They better.
They're not
after this year. They better. Anyways, no. As we were lucky enough to get to talk to Trey Smith at Offensive Line Masterminds. Shout out to Duke for his program down there. The 20 minutes I spent talking to Trey after one of the little breakout sessions is honestly one of the 20 minutes I learned the most in my professional life in the last year. I love that dude. Like, loved him as a prospect. After talking to him one-on-one, love him even more. I would pay him whatever.
Yeah, I don't even care what the number is. Just pay him. As for tackle, it's not really an easy fix. Hope that Kingsley develops is like, again, send him to Duke and hope he develops, which, I mean, Trey and Creed work with Duke. So I would assume that, they'll,
there's an open
facilitate.
line of communication.
But other than that, there's not really a great answer at tackle for KC. I just draft another one. Like, I know they just drafted. I'll do it again. I'll just keep drafting tackles until they figure it out.
Knicks just got Bosa.
Telling you, man, he's a great athlete.
No, Bosa was peaking. Look at the ball fake. Like, Bosa was peaking and Knicks got him. Hard ball fake, offside. Look at Bosa looking back up at the screen. Like, what happened there? Watch his eyes. Watch this. Oh no. Oh no. I'm not gonna catch him.
God, he can really move.
Yeah, he's a twitched up athlete. He can absolutely get on a source. But, flip side to what I just said about the Chargers, again, 425, 3 timeouts left for the Broncos here. If they go down and put points on.
Oh, Bosa just got him.
Yeah, he's like, fine, run away from me one time.
To get back to the Chiefs, though, like, again, hope that Kingsley develops. They don't have an answer at left tackle. They don't have an answer at right tackle. Draft another one. Let's see. Who's the free agent tackles? Is there even
Stanley?
Yeah, but he's gonna command a price point where, like, they would have to choose between Trey and that, and I would rather have Trey. Right? Cam Robinson is gonna be a UFA. Noteboom. I could see maybe a mercenary deal with Tyron Smith if Tyron wants a ring. But again, like, it's an old Tyron Smith. You're not getting Tyron Smith.
No.
God, there's not a whole lot of options here.
Dan
Skipper, maybe.
There's a limited supply of tackles. There always is. There is a limited supply in this draft. There are several very good high-end tackles, and then it drops off. If you're getting a end of the second, top of the third round tackle in this draft, you probably don't want to rely on them starting, especially not for a team like the Chiefs with championship aspirations. So there is always a limited supply. It drives up demand, it drives up price, it drives up draft price, all that stuff. So it's tough. If you don't have good young tackles, cough, cough, Chargers, it's difficult.
Yeah, that's why the Chargers took Alt. Is they're like, hey, this is a really hard thing to find. We can get Ladd in the second round. We're not getting a
Right.
great tackle in the second round, at least not often. God, there's that dagger ball that we were talking about.
Yeah,
They hit at least two of them every single week.
Yep. And usually to Sutton, occasionally to Bailey, but usually to Sutton.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. It wasn't dagger. It was just a high cross with a little stair step. But again, they love that little window against a single high look behind the linebackers in front of the safeties. But before you get to the hand corner, like that little seam area of the field, they love attacking it.
And that puts Sutton up to how many receiving yards?
Oh, whoa! Ball! Nah, a little far.
Kicked up.
He's at 35, so he needs another 28.
Yeah, he needs to keep going in the second half like he has in the first, basically.
And then Bo needs another 60.
And we're just trading 3 and outs after, all we had to do was talk up scoring drive after scoring drive, and all of a sudden, stop.
Well, Chargers desperately needed that. Like, they could not afford to go down, potentially
if the Broncos,
3 possessions.
Right. It's almost like the second half adjustments hit early, right? Both defensive coordinators kind of figured it out before they got to the locker room, and they'll fine-tune that certainly during the break, but both of them were like, nope, like this is what we need to squat on because we're getting gashed right now. We can't stop them. They figured out what those keys were and clamped down on
them. Nicholas Coyote for $2. Thank you, Nicholas. Hey, boys, who should the Hawks draft/target? All right, here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Look up PFF draft rankings. You go to that website, and then you filter out every single guard and center. Print that out, put it on the wall, throw a dart, and then throw like 5 more darts because I want them to spend every single pick they have on interior offensive line. Center, guard, doesn't matter. I literally do not care. Draft 5 of them and figure it out. They took Haynes last year. Again, we are shotgunning this. If they don't think that he's good enough to be a long-term option already, fine. I liked him a lot as a prospect, but clearly they're still having issues. Take 2 guards and 2 centers at minimum in this draft and figure it out in camp. They cannot go another year with interior offensive line play as bad as this. I don't even think Olu is safe. And he's been all right. He's been fine. But I don't even think that he's safe.
I think if you surround him with talent, I'm fine with taking 2 to 3 guards in one way or another and maybe a right tackle just based on health. Like, not necessarily somebody to start unless you know things about the health of the right tackle that we don't. But a couple of guards. I think Olu is a stabilizing presence, certainly has been since he has moved into the lineup after their center retired. And again, you're never going to get 5 studs on one offensive line. It just doesn't happen. So you're going to have to get by. And Olu is a good enough center to get by with if you surround him with talent. If you're asking him to hold the line, hold the load for, both guards, you can't win. It's a 2-way go for center on every play, and you can't choose right.
I agree, and I think he's been fine. I think Olu's been fine.
Yeah.
But this is a franchise that has a legacy of very high-end center play. Max Unger, Robbie Tobeck, the best offenses this team has ever had top-tier centers. And they haven't had one since Unger. And that was a decade ago?
Yep.
Right? If not longer. So God, just get one. I don't care what it takes. Just like
Huh,
Chicago, just get one.
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Just gonna say, weird. Sounds familiar. I think Braxton Jones could be fine if he had help, but he needs help and it needs a lot of it. And I'm with it. You go get a center for sure that you are sure about, whether it is one of the top centers in the draft or the top center in free agency, your choice. Same thing. Like, don't stop there. Like, don't make one move and call it done. Keep going. Like, you could use 2 more guards, find backups among the guys you have and a backup tackle, because boy, like, maybe Kieran develops. I'm not sure.
Early
But
returns are not ideal.
oh, dude, his first start left tackle was rugged. Like, I understand he's a rookie. I understand it's a bad offensive line. He got beat 6 ways from Sunday. Like, it was not pretty.
Dane B for $5. All right, guys, who's the random quarterback from the 2025 class that's going in round 5 through undrafted that will be a Hall of Famer?
Oh, I don't know about Hall of Famer, but hang on.
My bet's on Kyle McCord. Happy holidays. I was going to say either McCord or Curtis Rourke.
Well, I don't think McCord's going to go as late as you think, because
I don't think he would go in round 5. I think he'd go before that.
There's quarterbacks dropping out of this draft, and people are going to look at Kyle McCord, and the melt is going to occur around him, and he's going to be like, people are going to talk themselves into Kyle McCord, me included. No, how about Hunter Deckers, ex-Iowa State quarterback, led Western Community College to the JUCO national title game a couple nights ago. He's got tools. He's a lefty. Like, let's go.
So he's going to be a JUCO kid in the draft?
Probably. He was Iowa State prior to going back to.
Big gainer for Ladd. Let's go.
Yeah, Ladd, he's had 2 now. 2 nice chunks in this game.
Did the Deckers kid get an all-star invite?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I know someone that keeps all-star game invite lists. Shout out Alex Katzen.
Fellow Chargers fan.
Yes, I will have to check out whether or not Deckers has been invited yet. I don't believe that he has, but I don't know that he hasn't. So,
when's the last time a JUCO kid got drafted? Like, out of JUCO?
Out of JUCO. That's a really good question.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah. And
how'd you even hear of him?
He popped up. I had seen him when he was at Iowa State, like on a list, not like watched his tape, but the name sounded familiar. And then the JUCO National Championship game was on the other night, and Dane Brugler posted something about him. And I was like, oh, that's where he ended up, because you and I just had one of those discussions about quarterbacks. I mean, quarterbacks transfer all the time, NIL, and, high level recruits are being brought in, 5 stars, and they go, hey, this isn't the place for me, and they move on. And it's not uncommon to see a quarterback with 3, 4, even 5 stops sometimes, with guys playing 6 and 7 years. And it's like, oh, and I said, I wonder where he ended up. And you sent me a highlight, and you're like, he ended up here. And you're like, yep.
What's interesting about a JUCO quarterback, though, is that there was a court ruling, I think it was today or yesterday.
Yesterday.
That JUCO years no longer subtract a year from eligibility. So he could still go somewhere.
That's right. If he finds a very nice NIL deal with an open starting spot, and they're like, we like what you did, he could go elevate his profile and make some money while doing it. So the college football landscape, very, very different place than it was 3-4 years ago. I'm not sure he made that.
I think they're going to rule him short slightly.
Feels like it based on the replay.
Like 6 inches short, maybe. Which is a perfectly acceptable amount to be short by.
I was going to make a joke about his draft status, but somebody would think it was DG slander, and then we would get dinged in the comments.
Looks like my chat just crashed. So EJ, I'm going to have to ask you to look to see if there's any supers that we missed.
I was keeping up and I did not see. Uh, what positions do y'all? So this is from Jacob, which for $10. Thank you, Jacob. What positions do y'all see the Steelers targeting in the first 3 rounds of the draft? Do you view QB as a possibility? I doubt it for their sake. I certainly wouldn't be prioritizing it. Again, if you want to take a late flyer, even if that's a comp pick and around 3, QB sneak
Yeah, they got it.
and got it. Yep. So I would not be prioritizing QB. I think they are in a pretty good position with Russ having played well enough to win down the stretch that they can go, okay, we don't have to this year, much like they did at the end of the Big Ben era, where now they put it off too long, but they ran that string a couple of extra years.
Chris Abrams train.
Yeah, we were talking about him pregame before
We
we started the
were.
stream because the Broncos defense has been really, really healthy. And literally the only major starter that they're out on defense is Riley Moss. But they have Chris Abrams Drain, a draft pick from this year that we really liked out of Missouri. Many people liked his counterpart at Missouri better. We were both pretty high on Chris Abrams Drain because he is an absolute dog. But
Yeah, he had like
I'm gonna have to look at the
20. I want to say he had a 21 or 22% PVU rate. Like he was like statistically the better corner. I thought his tape was better. People knocked him because of size. He's a slender dude, but he does stuff like that. Like his closing speed is gnarly. Like he's a really good corner.
And he's really sure of himself, both as a corner in general, but his field awareness at that point to say, look, there's only 8 more yards to the back of the end zone. I can undercut this. I don't need help. I have the back of the end zone. That is a ballsy play. But he basically was using the field as his extra defender and just gunned that thing. That's very savvy play.
That is a hell of a play.
Yep.
As for what positions do the Steelers targeting the first 3 rounds, I'd say they're going to take another receiver. They'll probably take a stab at quarterback. Get one that's developmental, like a Milroe, right? Somebody that, and I think Tomlin would love Milroe too. Like his work ethic, his personality, like he's a great kid. I think Tomlin would love working with him as a developmental guy. I can't remember how many years. Can't remember how many years Warren has left. I don't know if Najee's going to be there next year. Like running back is a possibility just because it's such a crazy good running back class. If they wanted to not invest a whole lot of money into the running back position and just draft one, use them and lose them, I could see that on day 2.
All right. 13 seconds left for the Broncos. Looks like they're content to just run it out.
Uh-oh. McGlinchey.
Miners?
Oh, no, it's Miners.
No, that's
Took
Miners.
one to the left knee.
Yeah.
He got rolled a little bit.
I don't like that. He's been a big key for them on the inside. Absolute alley fighter.
Looks like he's coming off, but he definitely doesn't feel good.
Harbaugh trying to take a timeout there.
Trying to get themselves a return opportunity with Darius that can set up a field goal. Because if he can get to like the 38.
Yeah, and they definitely set up their return there. Nobody rushed. Oh!
Did he trying to draw a flag? Yeah, he tried to draw a running into the returner flag. So that'll give him a Hail Mary opportunity because they'll get 15 from the 35, I think is where they were at. So that'll put him right at midfield, I think, if I did my math right.
Look at Sean. He's like, hey.
It's a good job by Darius to draw that, too. He kind of stuck his foot out there.
I'm fascinated on how they're going to call this one.
Yeah, Darius, that was a little showmanship right there. He drew that one on purpose. That was a great job by him. Love the awareness. Let me just throw my leg out there.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, he hit me. Ah.
The- It reminds me of a guy on the 3-point line, like pivoting and throwing his ass into somebody and
The,
falling
the, the,
away,
the
shooting a
James
three.
Harden special.
Yep. Yep. Habu. I
Teacher,
was
teacher, give
I
me
was
3 free throws.
contacted. I know the rules. I know my rights. I was contacted.
But I don't know where they set him up field position wise.
Are they basically giving him an untimed down?
Yeah, because they're giving him an untimed shot play.
Okay.
Because I think they're out of Dicker's range, barely.
I think he might be protesting that. He's like, nah, nah, I can do it.
I mean, he could hit it from like 65.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're at, though. They didn't show me where they're setting up from.
Yeah. If you could sell it, take the yards. All right. Matt H, what free agents are getting tagged? We're probably going to do a whole free agency special. We're more likely going to be recapping that than presaging it.
If I was going to sage one, though, Darnold. I think Darnold's going to get tagged.
I don't know.
Tag and trade,
Unless
though, is what I'm saying.
I was going to say, yeah,
tag and trade.
and trade is the only way that works. And I'm not sure that's going to happen. That may sound, it sounds like Darnold slander. It's not Darnold slander. It is a realization. We just had Arif Hassan on Bear Era talking about, before the Vikings game. And that was the question I asked him is, so what are you doing with Darnold? Like, what do you think's going to happen with Sam Darnold? And he said, I don't think Sam Darnold's going to get resigned because they are so high on JJ and they believe that JJ McCarthy was further along more quickly than they thought he might be. So they really want to get him on the field. Kevin O'Connell believes in him. He believes in Sam as well. The entire Vikings team rallied around Darnold and said, let's get him paid early in the season. That was their sort of rallying cries. Let's get Sam paid. And I think they all realized that that might be somewhere else. And that's okay. They still came together and have had a tremendous season, rallying behind that. So there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't think Sam's going to stay in Minnesota. I do think he'll get signed. And if the Vikings, Kwesi decides to leverage that as a sign and trade deal, I could see it. But it's not a sign and keep type situation.
I would say DJ Reed, prime candidate to get tagged because he's had an incredible
year. He's been really good. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of other like obvious tag targets. I mean, Noteboom maybe for the Rams. Yeah. Just depending on what their plan is at tackle for this offseason. Russell Douglas. No, not Russell Douglas. Actually, he's too old for that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna spend tag money on a 31-year-old corner.
Nope.
Unless you're just buying time for a deal. But even then, he's a 31-year-old corner. It's going to be a 2-year deal anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think Darius Slayton's getting tagged. Wait. What's going on?
I'm not at all sure what's going on here.
I don't have broadcast audio, so chat's going to have to explain this one to me.
A 57-yard field goal attempt.
But why was there no rush?
I don't understand that at all.
I'm sure there's a rule here.
I'm sure there's
but
several.
I don't know what it is.
But as a podcast that steadfastly does not bet on kickers, I don't know it.
A rare NFL free kick penalty. Have I ever seen that? I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't believe I've ever seen one of those in the wild. That's a first. And Chargers get themselves some points out of it. Now, it isn't the 7 that we were talking about them getting 5 minutes ago of game time. But look, it gets them close. Like it's a 1-score game with a 2-point conversion. We could do this. And a very even first half that got kind of off the rails there a little bit at the end. Actually, the last 4.5 minutes of the first half looked a lot more like what we thought the whole game was going to look like, which was a defensive battle.
So there's a fair catch free kick rule. And if you just on the last kick attempted a fair catch, you are then allowed to do a free kick on the next play.
Okay.
Obviously, extraordinarily rare because how often do you punt it and are already in field goal position or kick it and are already in field goal position? But because of the penalty, that then set them up in range. I have literally never seen that. I have never seen that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's we watched a lot of football. $10 from Chris Hescarl. Hey Brett, when is the deep dive into Rex Ryan, Mike McDonald, and Jesse Minter? I need an hour-long defensive scheme video for me to take notes on for hours to use it in NCAA 25.
So I started filming that in Washington on the water when we were doing the summer series. And I've still just been kind of working on it off and on this entire time. I wanted to wait till we got some like good regular season film of the Hawks and the Chargers, which obviously we have now. So I am working on it.
I am working on it. That sounds so much like your description to your like high school teachers. I am working on it. I have not yet submitted the homework, but I am working on it.
I'm also working on the Vic Fangio video still, and I'm still working on the Brian Flores video and the Revis video are the three priorities at the moment. I also have a Derrick Henry video in the works, depending on if he continues his pace of finishing with the best running back season for a 30-year-old ever. What else am I working on? I just had a meeting with the NFL today, and the Next Gen Stats folks, as well as with a company called Slants. And Slants is doing something really, really interesting, which is they have, and I know of a couple companies that do this, and Sumer's another one, where they have like a computer vision, they could call it computer vision, it's like an AI that can watch film, and as long as it's a wide angle of film, this is the company that Slants, they're called Slants. And so they can take a wide angle of all 22 film, and then they can do like little tracking markers on the film for like yardage lines and hash marks and where players are and everything like that. And then they can then build a model out of that of a perfectly proportioned football field with all these player dots and everything like that, and use that to recreate like chip data in the pads, right? So like acceleration and speed metrics and everything like that. And their practical application for this is for NFL teams that need speed and acceleration data and everything like that for prospects, but for schools that don't have chips in the pads, right? Like some SEC schools are, or I think most SEC schools are on like Zebra chips, so it's like easily accessible. But if you're trying to get speed data for like a kid from Bowling Green or whatever that don't have chips in the pads, this company Slants can then take the film and using these models model out acceleration and speed data, which I had heard of teams doing that. I didn't know that Slants was the company that was helping them with it. But there's a practical application for the NFL as well where, and this is what I'm going to be working on the NFL with, you know how Next Gen Stats have all the chip data going back to 2016 for all the players. We're working on a past gen stats thing where I can take the 2009 Titans offense all 22 that I have, feed that through to Slants. They can give me all the speed data, and I can directly compare Chris Johnson's speed with like Tyreek's speed with like '07 Randy Moss or prime Deshaun Jackson. So I'm working on that kind of project as well using past gen stats data. So long way to go for a short drink of water. Bunch of cool shit coming out.
Bunch of cool shit. Well, the youth football team that's playing on the field at halftime is wearing the dark blues, so I feel vindicated.
Oh, that's sick. That's awesome.
I think we are caught up on super chats. Do it for Bo Jackson because Aegis is just trolling me for $5. So hey, it's your right. You can spend your $5 to troll me. Darnold to the Steelers in 2025 for 2 years, just in time to bridge to the next Chicago QB castaway pipeline. Mitch, Justin, Caleb. Okay, Mitch and Justin, I will give you. Caleb is pure slander. Speaking of slander, we'll not have that quite yet, but Aegis, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Darnold to the Steelers would be a lot of fun. For a lot of reasons. I don't.
Also, Darnold's only like 27, right?
Yeah,
he could be there for a while.
You feel like he's the guy that's been around the league for 15 years, but he is not. It's just some of those years were dog years with the Jets, so makes it feel a little bit longer. But that's it. We are through the super chats. It is halftime. You know what that time is. It is time to sound off about where you are watching this broadcast in the world. There are 500 folks in with us, which is pretty darn amazing for a late season Thursday night game that didn't look like it was going to be anything, but cough, cough, is actually turning into a really fun football game, as often happens. Where are you in the world? Go ahead, type it in the chat. We love seeing everybody from all over the country, all over the world. As we are routinely reminded, we are not a national football podcast. We are an international football podcast, and we love y'all. So happy holidays, no matter where you are.
Medford, Oregon. That's a new one.
Yeah. Drove through Medford the last time I came down to see you.
Oh, Mammoth? Has Mammoth gotten snow yet? Probably.
EJ's mom's house. She's gonna beat your ass. Alexandria, Seattle, Minneapolis. My little Toyota did not get stuck in the snow today. All right, let's go, Ted. Adelaide. I bet folks in Adelaide's little Toyotas did not get stuck in the snow today either.
South of Denver, I
Worth,
believe.
Texas.
So, Wappanator, is that Colorado Springs? Because I'm trying to think of what's south of Denver. Because it's like Colorado Springs, and then I think Pueblo, and then a whole lot of nothing for a long way. So
hey, come on now. Durango's down there. That's south of Denver.
My mom's cousin lived in Durango, oddly enough.
Durango's gorgeous. Durango's a cool town. Munich, Germany. There you go. Herradura, Costa Rica. Let's go. Birmingham, UK. Jupiter in space. Man, that was a long ride. Frederick, Maryland. West Palm Beach. 80 degrees today. Get the out of here. Not 80 degrees.
What was it for you, AJ? 35?
No, it was unseasonably warm today. It was 47.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Manitowoc, Wisconsin, Champaign, Cancun. Yeah, Cancun probably a little bit better.
Rio, let's go.
Moonshine capital of the world, Franklin County, Virginia.
That's right. Get the white dog going. Look out.
Did you know there's more distilleries, licensed distilleries even, in Virginia than in Kentucky? Yeah.
Licensed. Yeah. Licensed.
I can't speak for unlicensed, but in terms of licensed distilleries.
Allegedly.
No, there's a huge whiskey scene in Virginia.
Yeah, for sure. More Brazilians and Villahermosa, Mexico. Let's go. A lot of Maryland today. Idaho. Come on, Otter. Come on, Connor. Where in Idaho? I'm close to Idaho. I can take geographic designations for that state.
Munich, Wahoo, Tokyo.
Peoria. There you go. Sydney. Very nice.
Dallas, Texas, going to watch the Bucks invade the Silver Pimple. I've never heard it called the Silver Pimple. That's great.
There you go.
Oh, we got Q's.
Monhegan Sun. Lancaster. There you go. On the Eagles. I love it. Lancaster. As a Pennsylvanian by birth, I appreciate that comment.
The Virginia whiskey scene exists to feed DC's inexhaustible demands.
Well, yeah, that is, hey, what can we do to limit our costs? Well, our transportation could be basically zero. Okay, I'm in. Edmonton, Wyoming, Dublin, Ireland. There we go. Pocatello, nice. Been there. Cool scene.
Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. What a town.
Monhegan Sun. Monhegan Sun's the where the casino is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
San Luis, Mexico. Let's go. A lot of Mexico in the chat tonight.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, it is a Chargers game. Actually, that makes sense. Okay.
Mumbai. There we go. Let's get wild. I have no idea what time it is in Mumbai.
Oh,
Like, it's
hold on. I'm
not
curious now.
not the correct time to be watching football.
8:19 a.m.
Oh,
Let's
well, hell,
let's
have your
go.
morning coffee, sit down, or
Yeah, it's
tea.
like us watching a Germany game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, get up and get to it. Awesome. Happy to have you with us. Oh, Wenatchee. Let's go, Keenan. I got family in Wenatchee. Perna raid. GPS raid. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, the Perna live stream has ported itself over. Happy to see y'all.
I totally forgot that Perna would be streaming tonight because it is a Broncos game.
Did
That's
not.
right.
You know what's amazing about Perna's stream, besides the fact that they all showed up here? Fantastic. The Broncos gave him like a gift box to give away tonight.
Really?
It had a helmet. Yeah, it had a helmet and a jersey and all kinds of stuff. He posted it. You should go check it out.
That's sick.
So, yeah, it was really cool. He's like, the Broncos are trusting me to give this away on the stream. And I almost said something about dick jokes and then just held my tongue.
I'll say this for all the people from Perna's stream that are coming in right now. I assume a lot of you are Broncos fans. I want you to know the NFL is giving me this week all of the 2006 Broncos defense, all 22. So we're not just doing a Revis video. We're doing a prime Champ Bailey video too. Because ahead of time, I knew that if I'm doing a Revis video, all the Broncos fans are want a Champ episode. So you're getting that, okay? So as soon as I get that film, Hockeys, I want you to know ahead of time I'm sending that straight to you. So
nice. Well, shout out to Perna. Shout out to Tom Grassi. We love those guys. They're tremendous friends. I'm just going to call them friends. I'm just going to say partners. They're friends. We see them a couple of times a year at least. Well, Perna's got to get himself out of the basement, but Grassi we see a couple of times a year. We will see him back at the Combine this year, I believe. Always great when we get to see him, get to see Johnny Barks on the road. Those guys are amazing. Yeah, love their work. Very kind of them and all of you to stop by. So welcome.
I'm pretty sure Grassi is going to be moving to Wisconsin in between the season and the draft, right?
Yeah, end of the season, correct.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the fortitude to have the house but not move during football season.
I don't think he can move. So we had Grassi on Bear Air before the Packers game. And before we started recording, I said, so you're on stream more than you're off, correct? He said, yes, correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
100%. More of his life is live streamed than is not.
He has the best work ethic I have ever seen from any human ever.
He is absolutely a grinder. Just got him hooked up with NFL Films to do a really cool historical look back at the Lambeau Leap. Yeah, shout out to Andrew who reached out about that. We got him connected with Grassi, and Grassi ended up doing the narration for that.
He did so good.
Absolutely sick. Perfect match of person and project. Love to see it, and just good things happening to good people on both sides of that one. So
yeah, honestly, the main reason I want to go to the draft is just to hang out with Tom.
Yeah, no, if
he's there.
Yeah, if we go to the draft, that's the reason. Yeah,
but at least we'll see him at Combine, so that'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. We get to see him at least once this year, and kind of the same thing for Pittsburgh next year. Like, we have friends in Pittsburgh. The whole reason we want to go to Pittsburgh, besides the fact that it's a great football town, is that we know a bunch of people there, and it's going to be sick to have a draft in Pittsburgh. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, Tree is there.
Yep. Brad's there.
Brad's there.
Spielberger.
Yep. Oh, I love Pittsburgh. It's one of my favorite cities in America. And whenever I say Pittsburgh is one of my top 5 cities, because Pittsburgh and Buffalo are both of my top 5 cities in America, because it's like, oh, like New York, Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. People are like, Buffalo and Pittsburgh. I'm like, trust me, dude, trust me. They're incredible.
Yeah, good times for sure.
All right. Second half just started. I mean, if Denver can get 7 here, it's going to be real tough for Chargers to climb out of that hole.
It'll certainly start off the second half the way that Denver would like to on the road. Let's put it that way. We figured this was going to be a tough game. We thought it was going to be defensively a very tough game. Turns out that both teams showed up with a different idea, but they're both playing kind of the same football on either side. And
Troy Franklin sighting. How about that?
yeah, Troy Franklin explosive play sighting, which is
Owen said, do you guys post your vids here? Would love to watch your other content. We do. We have all of our podcasts get posted on this channel. We have another podcast coming out tomorrow or possibly the day after. This one's kind of an intense edit. The subject of this week's show is, do college awards translate into NFL success? So it's a fun topic. We got some college tape in there. It's going to be a good show. It'll probably end up coming out either tomorrow night or Saturday morning. As for the 06 Champ Bailey breakdown, that'll be on my personal channel sometime in the future.
I was gonna say, I'm waiting for this. Like, what's the deadline for that one? Because I remember you filming the Mike McDonald portion of that video this summer in July when we were up on the island. That's fantastic. But yeah, if you are new to the channel, there are some almost 400 videos posted here that are everything from pre-draft analysis, draft live streams, regular season recaps and previews, and then a summer preview series. Oh, a little flea flicker action.
Oh, he turned it down. Smart play by Bo. Smart play.
And turned it down to
Troutman. Speaking of bootleg favorites,
Adam Troutman, second guy we ever interviewed together, long before we were a podcast. Well, long being 3 weeks, but.
And just watch the discipline to turn this down, knowing that he just wasn't going to have it.
No, he saw the middle. The guy he wanted to throw it to was doubled. He saw the middle line drop back and say, "Nuh-uh, keep it in front." And he went, "Okay, I'll keep it in front. I'll do the right thing here." Whereas Jameis would have just turned that sucker loose.
Fuck it, Cortland's down there somewhere.
That's right. Nice hit.
Noah Khan for $5. Thank you, Noah. My friend keeps saying that Herbert is a taller car. Can you please give me sanity and disagree with this foolish take? There is no way I would ever use Derek Carr as a comparison to Justin Herbert.
You would have to take the bottom third Justin Herbert seasons and the top tier Carr heater seasons, and you still wouldn't get all the little stuff in between, but the numbers might look pretty similar.
If you put, how do I phrase it? If you give Justin Herbert, Devontae Adams, and Jacoby Myers, and Josh Jacobs, and a competent offensive line, like, it would not even be close. It would not even be close. Like, you would immediately understand why they're not the same.
Well, let's do the swap. Not that we don't like how Bo is playing, because I love the quick trigger on that little outside screen. That's what made that whole thing work. And we've been singing Bo's praises for most of the evening as for how he's developed, but Justin's several years more into his career. If you just swap Justin Herbert over to this Broncos line and skill position players, Mims, Cortland Sutton,
they'd be leading the division.
They would be challenging for sure. So
because they would have beat KC, and I don't think they would have lost as many. Like, I'll bet you they would be right in it. You know, as like a 2-loss team. If they had that
defense on top of it, if they had their defense on top of it, that would be they probably would have gotten out of the gate to a much quicker start. Again, Broncos are just in a different situation in terms of where they needed to be with starting a rookie quarterback and bringing him along, and he's come along beautifully. Like, this is, I think, what they could have hoped for, which is we're competitive at the end of the season, which with teams that are very good. He's going deep. Whoa.
But I mean, shit, Denver's already a threat to KC with Bo.
I understand that.
Like, let alone with Justin.
Give him Herbert and watch him cook. Yeah, that'd be something else. So the Venn diagram might intermesh, but it's just one little slice on the edge of the circle for both of them. It's when Justin's playing his worst football and when Derek Carr was playing his very best football. Because look, Carr's had two half seasons that were crazy, like really, really good. People forget because both of those seasons ended in flames. But if you remember the first half of those Raiders seasons, it was like, holy shit, this team legit? And then they fell off the first time, and then it happened again, and everybody was like, so do we trust it, or do we believe what happened last time is going to happen next time? Unfortunately for Raiders fans, it was the latter. But the first half of those seasons, he was lights out. He looked like Microwave Kirk for a while.
Drew Smith for $5. Newer viewer, first time dono. What are your early thoughts on Landon Jackson? As an Arkansas fan, I'm biased, but I'd love to know what y'all think. So I just started Landon this week, and I got about 20 snaps in. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was like, this dude's like 6'7", 275, moves way different than he has any rights to. With his dimensions, right? He's working with the same D-line coach as Leatu Latu for his draft prep, and out in SoCal, he's working with Ed, and I sent him a message today, and I was like, I just got to your boy Landon this week, and he's a freak, and he's like, you have no idea. So like, he's good. He's gonna go high, folks. He's going to go really high. I think he's going to the Senior Bowl. Off the top of my head, I think he's going to Mobile, but he's like, yeah, wait till you see the one-on-ones. So he's good. Yeah, he's really good.
This is a Drew Sanders podcast. Somebody on this podcast has Drew Sanders as one of his defensive gems. So Landon's, I feel like, a step up from that. Different position, different player, but in terms of like aggression, energy, the ability to create explosive plays on defense, like Landon's a terror. Like, he's a lot of fun. When Brett got to him, he's like, I just got to him, and holy shit, I was like, I put up the little raccoon gif. I was like,
I wasn't ready for it because I was like, yeah. Everybody's like, oh, watch some guy from Landon, Arkansas, he gave SEC, Texas whatever. Problems. I'm like, oh god,
bam.
Connor for $2, going to Chiefs at Denver. What to do? Where to go? In Denver. Ooh,
ask Perna. He'll give you a whole list.
I was gonna say I'm more familiar with the mountains than I am with Denver.
Yeah, I haven't been to Denver proper. Like,
how far is Casa Bonita?
I haven't been to Denver proper in a long time at this point, almost 20 years.
If you like whiskey, go up to Breckenridge. Breckenridge bourbon is like one of my favorite bourbons. Very, very good. And Breck is an hour and a half away, maybe,
depending on the weather.
Yeah, this time of year, I don't know, but I mean, Breckenridge is also just beautiful in general. I know they recently got a bunch of snow, so obviously, be cautious when you're driving on mountain roads. As for what to eat, anything with green chili in it is like a Colorado specialty. So just find the closest Mexican restaurant you can that has green chili something on the menu. It's probably going to be really good.
Yep. And Ping Perna, he'll let you know. He's got a whole list. Guaranteed. That's his town.
Oh, seafood as well. Like sushi. The sushi scene in Denver is really good too. Which I know sounds weird because it's a landlocked state, but that's where all the... say,
because all those fish swimming up to 5,000 feet.
Denver is the distribution hub for seafood from the West Coast as well as for the Gulf Coast to get everywhere else. Like, everything has to fly through DIA. So usually the seafood in Denver is really, really fresh because it's flown that day for distribution. So the Denver seafood scene, pretty weirdly very good. Another great ball.
Nice grab by Ladd. That was not it was a nice hand sketch. Wasn't necessarily pretty, but he got the job done, and that's what matters on that particular route.
Ages for $10. I did some of the foundational research for that computer vision project, and I sent Brett a copy of the research paper about 3 years ago. I did not know that. Sorry for missing that. I ran into issues with the poor resolution of the broadcast footage.
Mm.
So, do you know Omar? Aegis, do you know Omar at Slants? Because I just talked to him today. I want to ask you about that. Because I thought, like, oh, could I compare Bo Jackson's speed off broadcast footage? And he's like, I mean, in theory. Because if I
Yeah,
can do
in
Tyreek
theory.
versus Bo versus Chris Johnson.
Okay. There's the Justin Herbert difference from Derek Carr.
Yeah, Derek Carr can't do that.
You're never gonna see him pull through a tackle like that. Like he's pretty swift footed as a runner, but like Justin has greater power and I think probably greater top end speed as well. He's a really good athlete.
Dude, he hit like 21 miles an hour this year. He can run.
Yeah, he's a really good athlete.
Curtis says, got ankle surgery yesterday after I tore all ligaments and broke my fibula. Drugged up, so went through some old cards I got thrifted and found a Dennis McKinnon, Marty Booker, and rookie Drew Brees.
Okay, McKinnon is a shout back for me specifically. McKinnon was a big part of the Bears team as I was becoming a Bears fan. Loved him. Marty Booker was the next wave of offense after that. Loved Booker because he was a very physical receiver. Just love Marty Booker's game. So there's 2 out of 3. I'm like, all right, let's go.
It's a hell of a find.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry about the leg, foot.
Also,
ankle
yeah, that sounds
mess.
awful.
That sounds like you ended up dragging your foot under the back tire of a 4-wheeler or something, because that's a rugged sounding injury.
Or unless you happen to be an NFL tight end playing against
Devin
White. I don't know. Well, Justin's matriculating the ball down the field.
Which, I'm fine with. I am 100% fine with, because there have certainly been periods in his career where he has not been able to resist temptation and has not been able to complete those types of drives exactly. So he wants to grind it out a little bit and sprinkle in those big highlight explosive plays that we know he can make. I think that makes him the most effective quarterback. It's the best version of himself.
Allen, again.
I was going to say, unfortunately, the 2 times he's done this tonight, it's been on handoffs. I mean, it's still fortunate for the Broncos defense. We talk about how good their run defense was in the open, but we're holding out for that sack.
I know. The problem is Justin's A, very mobile, and B, gets rid of it very quickly.
He's getting rid of it quick this year, which is really good for the Chargers offense. Make some mistake. It is bad for our particular entry tonight.
Oh, another great ball. And Stone Smart sighting. Let's go.
That's right. He's been on a tear for about 3.5 weeks. And I don't mean like statistical fantasy tear. I mean like has been making an impact for a month now. They've been waiting for that for a very long time. And he is delivering. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. Lad's drawing all the coverage. He just kind of trails off and stays in space. It's great work.
Yeah, that's also stuff that Carr never did.
So
Carr did that a lot. He took a lot of sacks.
You're going from DG slander to DC slander? Come on. Speaking of, just have to right the ship a little bit on DC slander, because Detective Comics has deserved all of it. But did you see the new Superman trailer directed by James Gunn? Came out today. Gonna come out in
I
July.
saw the trailer came out. I have not watched it yet.
All James Gunn has to do is make audiences feel something, anything at all, and he will win, because the DC films have been so plastic. And I feel like he's got a decent shot to do that. And I would love to see it. I was always a Marvel guy growing up, but it's no fun if DC sucks terribly. There's no comp.
What really gets me, I can't keep track of like what the universe is. Like I can't keep track of like what version of Batman is canon right now. Like,
correct. Yeah, they just keep rebooting it because it keeps not working.
Everything's just a reboot over. So it's like
It's
I
kind of like
can't.
what you said about the Chiefs with the tackle. Just
Yeah,
draft another one. Just start over.
but it bothers me
Oh
because that's
man,
like I don't
Justin got
know. I don't know what like enduring storyline
right.
I can pay attention to because there's no overarching.
I don't think. Yeah, they tried it with Justice League and all the build up to that, and it didn't particularly work. So, I would like to see a good Superman film. Oh, I mean, I, I get it, but
As in the call, it's kind of a weak call.
well, I mean, he doesn't forcibly contact the head or neck area. Yes, he's in a slide. I get it. And look, as a defender, defenders have to know at this point in the NFL. If you're going in on a quarterback that is running and giving themselves up, I don't really care when you do it. You're taking your team's fortune into your own hands. You're probably getting flagged.
Gus Bus. All right, we got a four
There
point
it
game,
is.
folks.
Easy too. Yeah, easy too. Looked almost as easy as Denver's first rushing touchdown. Like that was not a stressful run for them. They sealed off. It was the opposite side. They sealed off the left side. Denver sealed off the right. Running back Cruz is in both cases.
One of the children might be on the Wi-Fi, by the way.
Oh, I will alert them. I have to get a fresh beverage anyways. I have a Christmas beer, so I'm going to go fetch that.
Perfect. In the meantime, I'm going to see the Chargers attempt to make this a field goal game with a 2-point try, which is the correct choice, by the way. Because if they get it, it's a one possession game. Or if they did a kick, it would be a two possession game. If they fail, it's a two possession game. So you might as well try, right? Looks like they failed, which is fine. It's still a two possession game regardless. So they lost nothing by trying. Owen Donahue for $10. Thank you, Owen. Appreciate that. As a Broncos fan that loves draft season, interested in your roster thoughts for us. With DJ Jones entering free agency this year, I got us going Deion Walker out of Kentucky. Love the show. I'll tell you what, as far as complementary interior defensive line pieces go to Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers, Deion Walker's probably the best one you can hope for that isn't named Mason Graham. Although, Grant from Michigan, really either of the Michigan defensive tackles would work for you too. But knowing where the Broncos are going to pick, which is somewhere in the mid-20s, I would say Deion Walker is a really, really solid choice for getting somebody who can either play a true zero, which you don't play that many true zeros in Denver, but occasionally they're going to want to get into a 505 or something like that. Most likely, though, it'll be a shade or just a really, really big-ass 2-eye. But Deion's also athletic enough that he can penetrate as a 2-eye. He's not useless as far as penetration goes. So I would say that will be a very prudent pick because it's a nice mix of body types to get Zach Allen and Deion Walker next to each other. So you got, the big Vita Vea type body as well as, a classic 3 technique type body with Allen. And then John Franklin Myers is kind of a do-it-all, if you wanted to play 6, 5, 4-eye, 3, like he does whatever. So I would love a Walker pick. I'm trying to think. Hold on. Who are their free agents other than DJ? So other Broncos free agents. Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham. Don't care. Cody Barton. Could go linebacker. There's some mid-round linebackers that I wouldn't hate. Javonta, I don't think Javonta's going to be back, right? Which is why we mentioned Genty earlier as a possibility for them. Levi Wallace is going to get shot into the sun, but I think they're mostly fine at corner.
Is it foggy down by you guys?
Yeah. No, it because remember, SoFi's pretty close to the coast, and it rolls in
right
about this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. for
because
sure.
it's cold
Well,
and there's humidity, so it
oh,
just condenses and it's just a whole
okay,
layer.
cold. Clarify, cold.
Uh, 58, 60, around there, enough to condense
Yeah,
water into fog. How about that?
about that. Anyways, Christmas beer. You'll probably like this one. Chat might like this one. Uh,
What is that?
Santa's butt.
Okay.
The winter porter, 6% by volume. Large bottle imported from the UK from Ridgeway Brewing, Oxfordshire.
Brett, that's a warm front.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, clarify cold for the people here.
Hold on, let me see. What is Inglewood? Okay, it's 57, guys. That's chilly.
Oh, oh,
It's chilly.
it is 10 degrees warmer than here, which is very cold for you. It's 20 degrees warmer than it was here last week.
We just started summer. Nothing below 73 here in CR. What's in
Costa Rica.
Is Costa Rica in the southern hemisphere?
Well, not officially.
Or am I thinking? What's a country that's CR that's in the southern hemisphere? Hold on. Clearly, I don't. Okay, no, that's northern. What am I thinking of? Not Chile. What is CR in the southern hemisphere? All right, chat's going to have to help me with that one.
Oh, the Chargers' ugly sweaters. Nice.
Oh, it is Costa Rica. Okay.
Don't believe the guy that's been there. Come on.
Oh, did he pick that? Did Derwin get that? Unless it's going Ty goes to the receiver? I don't know.
Harbaugh thinks they did. He's right out there to tell him.
I don't know. I think they're calling it a catch.
Well, going to Williams has been an adventure tonight in terms of targeting him as a running back. He's had a couple of drops, one skipped off his hands.
I think they're going to call that a catch.
They should. Yeah, for sure.
27 feels like 21 in Billings, Montana. Good God. I love your views, but that's tough. That's tough for me.
Yeah, for months on end, it's tough. Like to show up for a weekend or hang out for Christmas or New Year's or something, it's fine. But
I stepped foot in New York for like 2 hours and was instantly sick.
Yeah, and your skin blew up and
just vibing for $50. Let's go.
Let's go.
Haven't seen you in a little bit, Just Vibing. Welcome back. I promise I was nice to my Bears fan coworker this week. By the way, have you heard of the gospel of my personal goat, Jalen Redmond?
Yes.
I have not heard about the Jalen Redmond gospel. Have you, EJ?
Yes. Oh, yes. Jalen Redmond was somebody that I talked to Keegan about, our friend that's a big OU fan, along with your dad, but I don't really talk scouting with your dad. Redmond was always a guy that they had super high hopes for, and for one reason or another, it didn't happen. But yeah, he's been putting on a clinic since he got to the league. And again, in terms of value compared to where he was picked, he is more than delivering on that and really delivering on a lot of that promise that they always wanted to see at OU. And they saw in flashes, but could never get it consistently because of injuries and other things. So yeah, good player. Hope he stays healthy because, yeah, he's making a difference for them on the inside.
God, he's 25 already as a rookie. I didn't realize that.
Well, he'd been through it in college. He'd
had
a couple seasons giving back and the whole.
I remember he when he started, he was like a 230-pound edge rusher. right? That they bulked up by like 50 pounds by the time he left OU.
He's got a lot of burst.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of burst.
I'm trying to
Anyways,
remember
just
what my
Merry Christmas. $50. That's very nice. Appreciate it.
I'll use that to buy you Jason more beer. I remember my grade for him coming out was basically like a if off the top of my head, I think I treated him like a Preston Smith type. Because Preston was like that too, right? He was a hand in the dirt interior that they then like slimmed down a little bit and converted to a stand-up edge.
Sure.
And I remember thinking, like, I mean, he's pretty freaking athletic. Like, you could probably try that with him too. But, you know, he's had a nice rookie year. Give him that.
For sure. Oh, man.
All right, Justin, what do you got?
Oh, give him a little play action. I had to look at the graphic. 10 for 10 for 126 on PA looks like, okay. All right.
Josh Palmer gets
Nice.
Pat Surtain. How about that?
All right. But what I really like there is the play design. And again, we talked about this endlessly, that Roman is a terrific run designer. Look at all the eye candy they gave the defense off the snap. Like, they are trying to, I heard an interview with Joe Brady today, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, and he was talking about dirty eyes, about trying to dirty up the eyes of the defender, like make them look at things that they shouldn't be looking at just for a split second. They had multiple pieces of motion, both pre-snap and right after the snap, that basically were making the defenders key on, okay, stuff's going left, stuff's going right. Just had to hold them for a second, get that clean look outside, deliver a nice ball. You know, they're making space. They're holding those linebackers with a bunch of run action that's just all window dressing. None of it really matters, right? It's like a double PA play. And Justin Herbert, as it said before that snap, is 10 for 10 for 126 yards in this game off play action looks. He's now 11 for 11 with, I don't know, what was that, 13 yards? Yeah, it's working for him. And I think I certainly don't give Roman the credit as a passing game designer because honestly, before this year, hasn't really earned it. And
well, I think the year off
really
might have.
nice look.
I think year off might have helped him.
Self-scouted a little bit with some space.
Q Johnson for $5. Boy, it's one letter away from being a dirty word during a Chargers broadcast. Hey guys, got here a little late. Going to the Chiefs game Saturday for my buddy's bachelor party. You hear Hollywood is playing. Also, Tooney is at left tackle. I did not see that they were doing Tooney at left tackle again, which really means that they are going through it. Like, they are desperate.
He played pretty well last week.
That's the thing, is like, he's their best option at left tackle. is your left guard.
It's not preferred, but he held his own, which you've not been able to say about left tackles for the Chiefs.
He's holding his own better than everybody else is. But I'm saying, like, that is a rough situation if your best shot at left tackle is your left guard.
I'm still going to say it, and I know guards are going to get on me, and I know many of them, so don't throw tomatoes. Don't throw rocks, I guess. Probably easier to find somebody you can plug in at left guard between Creed and Tooney and say, just manage, 3/4 of this gap. We'll get the other edges, than it is to say, oh, go out on an island against insert demon edge rusher here, which you see every week in the NFL.
Yeah, no, they're correct. It's just, God, I thought we drafted Kingsley for literally this exact situation.
Newsflash, Brett Coleman says Andy Reid is correct.
Yeah. Perna can't figure out how to give away his giveaway? As in he got the item and then he started doing the stream and it was like, wait a minute.
How am I going to get
How do I pick somebody?
Oh, Uh, oh, Perna,
Do you
DM
just do
me.
you just do
I've
like
given away a bunch of stuff.
a randomizer?
Yeah,
Right.
that's typically the way is so anybody who's listening, they can communicate this to Brandon because I'm not going to type and watch at the same time. Basically, put out a tweet and say, hey, just respond if you want to win this thing. I'll have to be able to DM you for your address, get all the responses, basically take a slice of them, number them, use a randomizer, pick the number, DM that person, say you're the winner, send me your address. And if they don't, have the second number ready to go. That's the way we've done it for bootleg. It's worked pretty well. I imagine you'll have a few more numbers to go through. you'll have a few more respondents than we do, but basically works the same way.
I think they just called a horse collar on Coop.
It looked like it.
Broncos have really gotten on the bad end of penalties tonight. I don't want to say it's keeping the Chargers in the game, but it's certainly making it easier.
Oh, that's a real one.
Oh, it's an actual horse collar. Like it's a real.
That's yeah. He got him on both sides, front of the shoulder and back of the shoulder. And at that point, if you've ever been in shoulder pads, you can't go anywhere because that basically is locked onto your chest. And if they have those handles, you're not going anywhere. Like you're going down.
The thing that Broncos fans are going to be upset by is they're going to want an offsetting face mask by Herbert that they didn't get. So
they would hand
it's like
face.
He's committing a penalty against you, you're committing a penalty against him, and only one of you gets caught. Yeah.
It's going to be the defender, just so you know.
Yeah.
Not a shocker in the NFL. The defender's getting that penalty.
Ooh, knocked down at the line. Chris Haskell for $5. Thank you, Chris. Can we get a video talking about my GOAT, Mike Allstott? Ooh, that would be fun.
No, I have the homage shirt for the Bucks that has Mike Allstott on it. I actually wore it during our summer preview episode out on the island. Mike Allstott, shout out Chicago guy.
He just has he sounds like a Chicago guy, Mike Allstott.
Hey. Yeah, no.
But no, I'd love to do a Mike Allstott video, even if it's just like a short, right?
Oh, he's so good.
One of the toughest runners ever. Oh, that's a hold. Yeah, it's coming back.
Is it Vidal?
I think it was on Slay.
No, I'm saying the catch was Vidal.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Also, Tyler's favorite Buck of all time. He's a lifelong Bucks fan. Allstott's his favorite.
Absolutely. Shout out to Tyler. Tyler's got to make some more wings.
You know, I just had his wings at...
Don't start.
The company Christmas party for my wife. He did a salt and vinegar wing, which was awesome. He did Buffalo Ranch.
Very nice.
The best garlic parm wings I've ever had in my life.
He's the best. I love Tyler's wings.
You know what his only Bucks jersey he owns is?
Simeon Rice.
Darrelle Revis. I know. Lifelong Bucks fan. That's the only Bucks jersey he owns. It's hilarious.
Oh, let's go.
Who got that? I didn't see it.
Well, Tillman cleaned it up, but he also caused it, which is the coolest thing about that. Like he just misses it on the slant all the way in the inside. Like I think he might have actually just barely grazed the jersey of the running back on the way by, but then he got held up by the rest of the line mates and he came back and helped on the tackle. So he really pushed him inside to help and then came back and finished him off. That was impressive. He is lined up off sides right now if he doesn't move.
Yep, he's going to get called. I think it's Coop.
He's way off sides, dude.
Didn't call it, though. Oh, no, they did.
Come on, man. We're calling it from home.
That was the latest offsides flag I've ever seen.
Yeah, even with a bad TV angle, we're like, dude, you're clearly lined up offsides. Move. Nope.
Mike Allstott went to Juliet Catholic in the suburbs of Chicago. Is that where
I think it's
Uh,
Joliet Catholic, I think.
is that where Bowen coaches? Matt Bowen?
No,
Because he's still coaching in Chicago, I think, right?
he is, but much smaller school. Um, no, Joliet Catholic is a Chicago powerhouse. Well, they were certainly. I don't know if they still are. I made a comment on high school football in New York City because shout out to my nephew plays for Brooklyn Tech.
Oh, lad.
Nice little lad. And that's a nice gain. They need those explosive plays. And that's his third one of the night. We talked about Pickens earlier and that role for the Steelers to be lightning in a bottle. Completely different player than Ladd, but serving the same purpose. Like Ladd is the guy getting them for the most part chunk plays. He's only had what 3 or 4 catches tonight, and 3 of them have been big ones.
Bowen coaches for a different Catholic school in Elmhurst. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it starts with an I.
I want to say like ICF,
ICP. ICP?
ICP, ICP,
Not
ICF.
Insane Clown Posse, but, I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Oh, my God. What a ball.
Oh, right on
my
him.
God.
Davis.
Are you kidding me?
Hang on. I want to look at Ladd's stats real
quick. Derek Carr ain't doing that shit, guys.
So, yeah, Ladd is averaging 14 a catch tonight, 5 receptions for 70 yards. 3 of them have been like good for almost 20 yards.
Oh
he
my
has been the
Lord.
Play. Oh, look at he's got Smart right in front of him. He turns it down.
Oh my God. That is an absurd throw.
Whoop. All right, 2-point try and make it a 3-point game. 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. We got ourselves a TNF game, folks.
I can't even.
Oh, got tipped?
Yeah.
He caught it anyways.
Toes are in.
Oh my goodness. That's redonkulous. I mean, sometimes better lucky than good.
God, I wish we went to this game.
Shut up. Hindsight what it is. Hindsight what it is. Oh, man. Get out of here. Tipped, and he tipped it to himself and kept both feet in. Shout out Josh Paul.
That's crazy.
That is a great catch.
I mean, what do you do against that? It doesn't matter how good your defense
look at
is.
Herbert.
What do you do?
Herbert's like, oh, got tipped. He got tipped. He caught it.
Just crazy. Joshua Hall for $5. Do you guys think Mike McDaniel should be fired? I think the Finns should at least fire the GM Greer. Do we think do we think they should or do we think they will? Those are 2 very different questions. Do I think they should? I'm not there yet. Do I think they will? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's getting there, and the problem is it's almost like situational football. I'm going to look something up really quick. I saw this stat and I want to get it right.
I had heard through the grapevine, just full transparency, and I do not know what the status of this is because then Tua came back and their offense is really good and they were threatening for a wild card. But during Tua's absence, I had heard through the grapevine, again, take it surface value, that things were not as safe there as people thought going into the year. And then, of course, that skid happened when Tua was hurt, and that didn't help things. Now, was the offense good enough to buy them more time, i.e. 2025? I don't know. I'm not privy to the internal discussions there as they are right now. But I do know that things were more tenuous than we thought going into the year. And then it got more tenuous by October. So I don't know.
Okay, here's the one. Mike McDaniel's record. against teams above 500.
It can't be that good.
It's it not that good would be okay. What it is not okay. He's 3-14
Can't do it.
against winning teams. I'm sorry, you're not gonna win anything. Like, you're gonna win the ones you should, which is great. You're gonna beat the teams you should. You're gonna punch down. You're gonna be okay against teams 500 or under, and that's gonna be all right. But when you come up against teams that are well run and that you need to beat to be a playoff team, to win your division, to do all those things, if you're 3-14 against winning teams, you're never going to make it. You're at best going to be the good, bad team in your division. Right. And I had real hope coming into this year that Tua would stay healthy. I picked them to win the division. I thought this was going to be the year Tua was going to stay healthy. It was going to come together. He was going to learn from his mistakes from last year. That's what I was betting on. It's gone the other way. Tua got hurt, and they haven't been able to maintain the record. They've been a tremendous offense since Tua came back. But again, you're not being a tremendous offense is not necessarily always playing winning football. And if you are 3-14 in your entire coaching career as the head coach of a team, and again, this is McDaniel's first head coach job, right? He famously followed Shanahan to every stop through how many years? 16, 15?
Yeah, because they were in Houston and then Washington and then San Francisco, and then Atlanta and then San Francisco.
Yeah, so he followed him to every stop. So this is his first head coaching gig. And in some ways, he's done exceptionally well, but he's really done exceptionally well at his old job. He is a tremendous offensive coordinator. As the head guy, he's not been able to get Miami over the hump against winning teams at all with the regularity that you need to be competitive in the NFL. 3-14 against winning teams, not going to get a ton.
I will say, if Ben Johnson takes a job somewhere and McDaniel ends up getting fired in Miami, rightly or wrongly, if he ends up getting fired, if I'm Mike McDaniel, I go straight to Detroit.
If they call.
They would. They would. Yeah. If they lose Ben Johnson, that's who they're calling. They has to be.
If he's available, that would be a boon for them. I would not love it as a Bears fan because I think Mike McDaniel is good at his job calling offense. But 2 of the wins came in his rookie year, in McDaniel's rookie year. So since his rookie year, he is 1 and whatever against winning teams.
And I know a lot of those losses are against Buffalo, and it's like, oh, we can't hold 2 losses a year against, but it's like, yeah, you can. That's worse. If they're in your division, you're still not beating them, right? So it's got to be able to do it.
It's 17 times you've played. They didn't play Buffalo 17 times in 3 years. Yeah. I mean, it's not just Buffalo. If it was just Buffalo, it would be kind of like the Ohio State-Michigan thing. Right? You're winning all your other games, but you're losing to your rival. That wouldn't be great. Miami fans would still be upset about it, but they wouldn't be this upset. If you just look at that, it means anybody that rolls into town plus 500, your chances of beating them are minimal.
It's like 90%.
It's not great.
Man. Oh, good throw by Bo to get out of the jam there.
Again, take what the defense gives you. That's an experienced quarterback who's not panicking, keeps his eyes up and goes, look, I'm just going to get this out of my hands into the hands of a playmaker. He ends up getting a big chunk of yardage off that. It is not a pretty play. This is not like, oh, look at the design of this play. Like, the guy is basically in protection, leaks out, puts the linebacker in conflict, and then, just takes what he can get. It's pretty simple football, but sometimes good football, can be really simple.
So a quick update on the underdog entry. So Dayon hit. Nix is probably going to hit on this drive if he just gets 7 more yards. Or maybe 30?
Oh, he's going for it. He had it. He underthrew it.
Yeah, they tried to bait the PI. They weren't going to get it.
He had him by Mims is like just Mims right now is like under his breath. Give me Justin Herbert. Look
again,
how open
disclaimer
he is,
for the Broncos fans watching: we do like Bo Nix, but he's got to hit.
We do. Oh, he got him on this, dude.
You could argue PI very easily for that.
Yeah, but you just throw that ball out in front of him. He keeps running out and up.
Yeah.
He got him on the out and up. I fully agree that that's PI. He's not looking back.
And Bo even said, yeah, it's
And
on
Bo
me.
knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I get it out in front of him. That's not an issue. So Chargers get away with one. Bo should have thrown it better. Call it a push.
Is what it is. But
Oh,
again, if he gets 8 more yards, he's hitting. Cortland needs, I don't know, 23 more yards. Herbert already went over on 234.5, but it's fine. We did a flex entry, so we only need 4 out of 5 to make money on this. So we just need that Zach Allen sack, and everything else we're on track.
so
All right.
Deion's over. Nick's is almost over.
And we
Come
need like
on.
25 from Cortland and a Zach Allen sack, and then we're in the green for the night. So we're not doing too bad here.
No, it's very possible. And it's not like the Broncos haven't gotten a sack. They just haven't gotten a Zach Allen sack.
Yeah.
Oh, he had him. Okay.
Tarheeb.
Now, this one's on Bo. He had Watson way earlier than this. He waited too long. We sang his praises on the touchdown for waiting long enough. On this one, he waited too long. And Sean's telling him about it. Oh, nope. Sean's telling Troutman about something.
A rare punt in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have not seen a lot of action from the punters, which, I don't know, for a Thursday night game, we should count our blessings.
Eli for $2, I assume, also talking about Greer. Also not doing anything about the interior O-line. Well, they had some good interior O-line players. Keyword had. Letting Hunt out the door, I don't think was wise. I can't remember exactly what their financial situation was at the time, but I do remember thinking at the time, okay, but if they lose either of their guards, they don't have anybody else behind them. Like, their depth was nothing.
Yeah.
And that's proven to be correct. They just don't have, like, they had a good guard. And they didn't have anybody else. And I feel like they didn't have a plan to replace Hunt at all.
Yeah, the NFL is really odd in terms of player movement and player replacement. A lot of times I feel like there's a big sigh of relief from front offices when they hit on something and not kind of the realization that, great, that's just going to cause us a big issue in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Like we have 2 years max until we should have a plan, whether it's extend, draft a rookie to back them up, trade them, use that capital to do something else. Like there's this, like, he's going to be here for 8 years. We're great. Like that never happens in the NFL. The times that happens, I mean, by percentage is extremely small. Like you need a continuous plan almost at every position to replenish or resign or trade or whatever. And it all has to balance together. It's a lot of plates in the air at one time. And I feel like all front offices want to do sometimes is just put a couple plates down on the table and kind of leave them, forget about them. And you run into situations like that where, oh, we thought we were going to resign him and we didn't. Now what? And the answer is, shit, I really thought we were going to resign him.
Or like, oh, we thought we could just get one in the 3rd round like other teams tend to do, and then they just don't.
Yeah, and some teams can and some teams can't. And if you're one of the teams that can't, you are left high and dry. And then people go, what was your plan? And you kind of get exposed as, oh, well, we didn't really think about it as fully maybe as we should. We were really focusing on, X other issue. And all of a sudden the offensive line falls apart and it gets really rugged.
Eli also said Greer has let guys go. Example, Elliott and Gink. The Van Ginkel one is the one that stings the most. Like, he was such an instrumental part of that team.
It's tough, though, because his coach that helped him become that instrumental part of the team is now the DC in Minnesota.
I get it.
Go
like,
get him.
He was so good. Like, you just can't let a guy that good go out there for, like, not that much money. It's not like he's getting paid a shit ton.
No. But I think Flores was like, pay him whatever. I think Flores went to Quessy and said, pay him whatever. I can make him into what I made him into in Miami. And for the most part, he has. So good on him. What? Okay. we talk about the audacity of arm talent. Nobody even thinks about making that throw. The fact that he came up just a little short on that throw is ridiculous. Like, he's late in the down, across his body, across the field, out of the end zone to the third level. Like, that is a triple X no throw for any quarterback.
Telling you,
And he just missed it.
historic arm, man. Just historic arm.
Yeah, that is just the audacity to even think I'm going to hit that throw and almost do it is bonkers.
All right, 3rd and 4. Big down here.
Roman versus Vance. What do we got?
This is good. This play right here is going to determine how many possessions Denver gets for the rest of the 4th. If they're getting 2 or if they're getting 3. Which could prove to be massive here. Got it. That's a big one.
Ooh.
Hayden Hurst, let's go. So if the Chargers can bleed down to like 5 minutes, best case scenario.
I was gonna say like 4.5.
Because at that point, Denver's probably only getting 2 possessions max, and the last one would be in a hurry. Like, it wouldn't be a comfortable possession.
Yeah, they'd be hustling. Rare Hayden Hurst sighting on this team. I thought he was going to be a big cog for them, and he really has not turned into that. I'm a big Hayden Hurst fan. I thought he was going to play a lot of meaningful football for them this year. Said so in the summer preview series. Has not turned out to be the case.
Big first down win for Denver. So getting him into do you want to run it? They might run it here on 2nd and long, knowing that it's not advantageous, but prioritizing time.
Yeah, this is where the calculus for time versus distance versus points, you have all 3 on the scales, and you're kind of like, yeah, but what do we care about more?
So offset, I'd be willing to bet this is a run here.
Okay.
Oh, they faked. Oh, you got it in the flat. Oh, he knocked it down.
Yeah, great play by the defender.
That changes the math. That incompletion right there. That could steal a whole possession back for Denver if you're at 7.5.
Yeah. Cooper got the penalty earlier. This is a really good play. The play before the play is when the fullback motions out to the tight end. The wide receiver doesn't see it, and the fullback is like, step back. You need to uncover. Like, I'm going to be the end of the line. Which,
monster.
Again, that's what you see really good offenses do, and that's what you see really bad offenses not do. Not report eligibles, have pre-snap penalties and alignment. Oh, big sack for the Broncos.
Best case scenario for Denver was on that drive. Not only did they get off the field with 7 to go, but they also made them lose a bunch of yardage. That's huge.
Who was that?
I didn't see. Barton?
Nope. Bootleg defensive gem, Drew Sanders.
Oh, yeah, he's in Denver. I forgot about that.
Sorry. The wins have been rare and few and far between, but that's the explosion that he showcased coming out of Arkansas that made me make him a defensive gem.
Yeah,
so,
boy, he just really beat the shit out of that air.
Yeah. I'll take the explosion. You won't take that explosive sack? Come on.
As running defense, straight into nothing.
Sure. Hey, just because your team can't block, you expect him not to sack the quarterback because they don't block him? Really? No. Anyways, massive.
Those blades of fake grass really put up a fight there.
They did not, and neither did the Chargers offensive line. But there we go. No, huge play for Denver in terms of both what you said, in terms of time, field position, possession. It's a very close game, and little things are becoming big things right this very minute. Like, it's not in a few minutes, it's right now.
Katzen says...
Katzen probably says mean things to me.
No, he's asking if we have a way to get the footage of the other 6 successful free kicks in league history. I don't even know when those were.
I was gonna say we'd have to find them first.
Wasn't the last one
Alex?
that worked in like the 80s?
I don't know. Yeah, no. Casson just wrote a tremendous article that was on SB Nation about why one of the most accurate kickers in football history, Justin Tucker, had hit the schneid and whether or not he could get off.
Great article.
Great article. Echo Warrior for $4.99. As a Colts fan, I don't know if I want the Chargers to lose or not. If LA drops 2 games and Indy wins out, Colts are in, but I also want Ballard to go on. Okay, Echo. Welcome back. And yes, I understand your conundrum. Wait, but if my team doesn't lose, they might keep the bad things around. I'm not wild about that. Yes, that is a factor for many teams this time of year. Dane B. Sam Houston won the New Orleans Bowl. Congrats. Bearcats, indeed. Bowl season already in full swing.
I forgot there's bowl games on.
Oh, already. Yeah, there have been multiples.
Indiana and Notre Dame is tomorrow, by the way.
Yes, and that game is already wild off the charts. Notre Dame fans are freaking out about unsubstantiated reports of black uniforms. Indiana fans are posting like crazy pictures of like sexy Jesus smoking cigarettes on Main Street. Like it is 100% the 12-team playoff is dialed.
Also,
like, I love it.
By the way, Echo, for your sake, you should hope the Colts don't make the playoffs. Long term, you should hope.
Long term. That's a good way to look at it, is short term versus long term. Short term, sure, it'd be fun. Long term, it would be better if the other thing happened. Oh, speaking of sack for sack, let's go.
Bo had it too. I just don't think he felt comfortable letting it go without being able to step into it.
Yeah, he had somebody in his face. Coronos for $5. As a Seahawks fan, if Mike McDaniels is fired, I would hire him as our OC yesterday. Well, we've certainly heard some things about Grubb, although Grubb's offense has hit a little bit of a stride, and we will see them on this broadcast next week versus a very bad defense right now. So they might look amazing. JSN could break some records. It's kind of fun right now because JSN is chasing Lockett and DK single season records, and he's playing with Lockett and DK. So, somebody on that field is going to either keep the record or break the record. That'll be a lot of fun. Yes, it would not be bad if also, McDaniels had all that talent.
I don't think Grubb's getting fired at this point. Now, if he kept not running the ball, maybe he would have been. I don't think he will now. I think he's fine.
No, I don't think he will either. Although, if you ask me if I want to see Mike McDaniel coordinating an offense with Kenneth Walker, my answer is, oh, hell yes. Like, hell yes. Oh, my goodness. Come on, Bo. There you go. Okay.
3rd and 13.
Oh, great stiff arm.
Break one tackle and you can make it. Yeah, it's no way.
Nah, that's Lucas Kroll. We got to see him down at the Shrine Bowl. He is an impressive tight end. Good size.
Was he the one that cleated Trev in the shin? Oh, no, it wasn't Trev. Was it Trev?
It was Trev. I forgot all about that. So, Trevor Sikkema, PFF, everything at this point. Day one, we're on the sideline. Trev, for those of you that have not met him, is not the biggest guy. He's in great shape, but he's a bit smaller. He was talking to somebody, and Curl just came blowing through the sideline on a play in practice and rolled over, and his cleat landed on Trev's shin. I saw that. It like knocked his leg out from under him. Trev kind of went down to his hand to keep balance.
Did a lot of damage.
Stood up for the most part, and like I was like, that didn't look really good. And he walked over a couple minutes later, and I know Trev, and I said, Trev, all right, that looked bad. He goes, oh no, he cleated me right in the shit. It's bad. He pulls his pant leg up, and I was like, oh shit.
Just bleeding.
Yeah, no, he had 3 big holes in his shin. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that completely. That's hilarious. Yeah. It was day one too, so he's gonna be walking around on that for 4 days. And
the bruise was gnarly.
Next couple days. Yeah. It was a good time, but nothing against Lucas. Football play, no harm intended.
You gotta have your head
Um,
on a swivel.
you do. If you're on the sideline at anything above a high level high school practice, you better be paying attention where the ball is at all times. You know when I learned that, strangely enough,
Hmm.
wasn't on football sideline on a motocross track.
You didn't get hit by a bike,
No,
did you?
no, but like you see people who are not paying attention. I don't care who you're talking to. I don't care what you think you should be paying attention to. You need to be paying attention to what's coming at you, and you need to have an escape route because if you're packed in and somebody comes off the corner and loses it and it goes where,
Dude,
like you could get a bike on your face.
you know the ones that freak me out? Rally.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those are
Like old Group B
terrifying.
highlights. Yeah.
Oh my
for sure.
god. Like these Norwegian crazy people.
No, I will send you. I will send you my all-time favorite rally swap where it's two British guys, which is great because typically understated, right? And the navigator is, head down in the book, so he's not seeing what's going on. And this guy basically speed swaps on a wet, like Scottish road, going towards a single-lane stone bridge.
Oh no.
And the guy looks up like as they're, 90 miles an hour sideways towards the stone bridge, and it tail swaps just in time to get him across the bridge. And the hiccup in this guy's voice is, oh my God, because it was on his side too. It was on the navigator's side. Just the like, oh my God, life in front of your eyes moment is so classic. And he goes right back to giving directions, which is so British, stiff upper lip, classic. It's amazing. All right, Roma Dunze is goated for $4.99. Do you think Ryan Poles finally drafts a center? If not, he's fired.
No.
I've said it for 3 years, so I don't know.
He's not going to. He's not going to.
I guess I will lean on prior experience at this point and say no. Should he? Yes. I argue often with many of my draft colleagues about how high is too high, and my answer now for the Bears is anytime after 15. Like, go for it. I don't care. At this point, you need one so badly, and it screwed up so much of your program. How can you not do it? It's also one of the safest draft picks there is. So if you want to take a center top of the second round with one of those, you have 2 second-round picks, like, go for it. Like, hit it. I don't care. Like, I will not be the one bitching if that happens. So
watch him draft the one coming off a torn Achilles.
But just stop. Stop. Well, hey, wait. If you say they draft one coming off torn Achilles and you have the curse, maybe they draft a good one.
Yeah, okay. Ryan Poles going to draft a center. Sure.
Yeah, a good one too. Copium. That is pure copium. Great ball. Oh no, the Q Jeff.
I just why even throw it to him ever?
No,
why?
Come on. He's been much better, but that is, oh my God.
Has he? Has he though?
God. He has been much better. Dude has 9 touchdowns this year.
Oh, okay, and 4 of them, maybe even 5 of them, are on blown coverages. Like, I don't give a shit.
I don't care.
I do.
This year, I know.
Because how many times have they thrown a ball that absolutely had to get caught that didn't get caught? It's happened like 10 times this year.
Yeah, no, but at least they were getting the free stuff. They weren't even getting the free stuff before. And they have used him on more routes that he was comfortable on in college, which I really liked, which is something we called for him to have coming in. He's up.
I don't think they threw the flag for the late hit, though. That was borderline. They could have if they wanted.
They could have for sure. Anyways, no, I've been encouraged by their usage and his response to that because it's been better than toss him out with yesterday's garbage, which was the results from his first couple campaigns. So, yeah.
Like I had thought that he was gonna...
I'm glad they didn't throw that. You know why?
Because he turned back.
Because he turned into the field. Like, if you want to go out of bounds, go out of bounds. If you want to turn up the field, I'm going to stop you as a runner. Uh-oh.
There it is. Gus Bus.
Oh, you got to tackle him. Oh, and he lost a football.
Was he down, though?
They're hoping so. That the refs say so.
We'll have to see it.
And Broncos are already arguing about run fit, so they got. They got. Oh man. First, is that the first explosive run? Well, explosive runs are over 10 yards. So, second, maybe third explosive run we've seen in the game, but by far the largest. No,
That's the
definitely caused by the
first.
ground.
That's the first explosive run I've seen from them since the Bengals game. Where like truly like 20 plus yards, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't Justin taking off, you know.
Yeah, no, he's good to the ground on that one. It's a good call. I'm glad they got the call correct. And the run fit tightens right up. Not 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 surprisingly, but boy, uh,
The
been
hard
singing the
part,
Broncos run defense praises since before we started the stream, and they got him. Roman finally got him. Fourth quarter,
so
2 minutes to go.
all right, so we're doing timeout math here. Sean Payton just took his first timeout because he wanted to preserve the 2 minute warning. He'd rather take them now rather than on the other side of the 2 minute, which is correct. Here's the problem though. Once you take that timeout on this side of the 2 minute warning, you have to keep doing it. You have to just like
Yeah.
no matter what happens, you have to stick to it because the 2 timeouts does you no good on the other side of the 2 minute warning now.
Yeah.
So it puts an immense amount of pressure on this second down. If the Chargers pick up another first down here and the Broncos are running through 2 timeouts, game's basically over at that point. Not over, but pretty darn close to it. So again, you get a TFL, which is why Peyton took the timeout, because he's hoping that they get maybe 6 or 7 yards here, take another timeout. You're going to be at like 220, comes down to a third down, force a field goal, then you got 2 minutes to work with.
I don't care. I don't care.
Now it's game over.
Oh,
Now it's game. That's game.
They just salted it.
What a play by
Wow.
Justin, by the way.
I know, just a little flip. We've seen both quarterbacks do this tonight, to be fair. Bo's done it a couple of times. Justin's done it a couple of times. None bigger than that one. Just get the ball out of your hands, which certainly Justin struggled with earlier in his career. We see a lot of young quarterbacks just, no, I want to make a play. I want to make a play. I want to make a play. The play is to get it into the hands of your playmaker, even if it's just a tiny little screen, a dump off. A 1 yard gain is better than a 7 or 8 yard loss. Just flips it to Dobbins. Dobbins does the rest.
And he made the PAT. It was close, but he made it. All right, 10-point game, 2:27 to go. Broncos are going to have 2 minute warning and timeouts to work with.
That wasn't Dobbins. That was Gus. My bad. Chat's probably going bananas.
No, it's Haskins.
Oh, it's Haskins. Hassan. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I've screwed it up multiple times.
The other.
The other
running
who, yeah, I know. Dobbins is out with injury. My brain was like, that can't be Dobbins.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Ryan for $5 said, just a thought exercise. When you lose to a team like this is referring to the Dolphins, by the way. When you lose to a team like the Bills as much as the Dolphins have, how much of that is on the head coach and how much of that is on the GM? It depends on the year, right? Because if we're talking about a couple years ago when the Dolphins roster was better, more on Mike. If we're talking about now with the Dolphins roster where it is now, and their lack of depth really shining through, their lack of like a realistic backup quarterback option, despite having a quarterback that tends to get hurt quite a bit, that's more on Greer. So they're both not blameless, right? It just depends on the year we're talking about.
We got to kick one other factor into that when it comes to quarterback decisions, especially, which is not all owners are football agnostic when it comes to their quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, oh, the coach did this or the GM did that. And they did. All those things add up together. But if your owner, and we've seen this on multiple teams, not just the Dolphins, goes, you're playing this guy at quarterback. And then, in this case, the Dolphins guy gets hurt. Everybody goes, oh, you shouldn't have done that shit. I had a better backup plan. That was a terrible choice. And he's like, I'm sorry. My billionaire boss came into my office and said, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Not saying that's guaranteed what happened with the Dolphins. Also not saying it's not.
Well, I heard it was the other way with the Dolphins.
And it might be
the owner didn't want to pay the quarterback and and GM and head coach convinced him to.
Correct.
And then he got hurt. And that's why he's mad.
Yeah, if that's the case, then the culpability is fully on the brain trust that did that.
Like
But like
if they
in the
get
case of the
fired, it
Browns,
will
it's gone
be
the other way.
yeah. If they get
Yeah.
fired, it will be for that reason.
Yep.
Is that
Yeah.
they convinced him to pay Tua, and then he
They
paid
bet
Tua.
everything on Tua. And I, as a guy that picked the Dolphins to win the division this year, I bet everything on Tua too. I get it. And those are the decisions you have to make as a head coach and GM. Oh, lateral. I didn't get him anything, but all right.
Was it backwards?
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Yeah, that might have been forward.
Well, might have been.
Might have been forward.
Shout out to Sam's brother, PJ Mustafer, on the sideline. I saw him as backup.
Yeah, I think that one might have gone.
Yeah, always dangerous when you're doing it at full speed in the middle of the field.
Unless they're like really behind you, right?
I just dangerous in general in terms of, are they going to catch it? Is it going to get disrupted? Is it a fumble if it's forward? Like, okay. Yeah, there you go. Oh, 2 flags on the Broncos. Not great.
Movie critic for $2. Thoughts on Penix coming in for Kirk? They had to.
Yes.
They
yes,
had no
please.
choice. The offense was not functional with an immobile Kirk Cousins. They couldn't do, from a schematic perspective, they couldn't do everything they needed to do. They couldn't run play action. They were super predictable. They were in pistol for almost half the time because they had to be. Like, the offense doesn't work with Kirk Cousins because early on in the season, before trends were really established, teams were kind of taken by surprise. Once you got to like week 8 and teams knew what they were doing, you notice the huge downward spiral they were in. Like, you can only get away with bullshit for so long in the NFL before you get found out. So, like, they had to do it. There's no other choice.
Yeah, I'm realizing that why I thought that ball was flat or backwards, because the TV angle was this way.
Yeah.
It looked flat on the angle, but if you straighten that out, that's way forwards. When they showed it from the reverse angle, I was like, oh yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah.
That's real bad. That's not even close. Yeah, but I was like, I don't know. I figured I'd give it a shot.
Echo for $5. Team Tyler Warren in the first for Indy since Brett cursed Jelani Woods this year by saying people should take him in fantasy in the Colts video. Jelani is a classic case of year 5, he's going to end up in KC and be really good. It's just not going to happen in Indy. So, yeah, take Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's amazing. He's going to be a monster grade for me, I bet. He's really, really good. And Indy's going to be picking probably in the teens, which is about where I think he's going to go. So you didn't get Bowers last year. You can get Warren this year. I think it'd be a great pick.
Yeah, and shout out to Jelani. Really like him. We got to see him at Shrine, got to know him a little bit, and he is an even better athlete than most people thought he was going to be. All signs pointing up. Yeah, didn't work out. Hasn't worked out. Doesn't mean it won't work out, as Brett said, but in this particular stop, probably not going to. So one of those guys you hope finds an opportunity where he can really show his skill set, because he's got skills. He didn't lose the skills. And that's, just what we hope for him. But there wasn't any reason to think that he wouldn't be setting the world on fire, because we thought AR was going to be tearing through the league at this point. Yeah, we've cooled on that a little bit, but not completely. Again, the skills are still there, but he does have a longer way to go. He had, I don't want to say we took the bait, because I don't really feel like it was bait. There was a lot of good things on his tape, despite his relative inexperience. He has not had a lot of starts. We know that. But there were still things he was doing, which are high-level quarterbacking things, which he did in college, despite not having a lot of starts. So then he came out and had this tantalizing little sample size. 4 games, beginning of last season, and threw up, as what we know now is a typical AR game. About 4 or 5 plays. And we were like, oh man, if he's doing that as an inexperienced guy, well, come to find out, that's what he throws up every game. And that's it. That's all you get. Then you get a lot of missed short hop screens and
Yeah,
whatever else.
no, you need a speed out for 7 yards. You ain't getting it.
Yeah, good luck.
You need a
So
40-yard bomb to Alec Pierce that may or may not hit. You're getting that one.
yeah, it wasn't that the evidence was bad. It was that we saw the evidence we had and misread it. We basically kind of filled in the gaps in our brain and thought, it's going to happen. Nope. We still get those 4 or 5 plays a game where you're like, holy cow, but you don't get all the other stuff, and you need all the other stuff to be a successful NFL quarterback.
No, if you put Anthony Richardson and Bo Nix into one body, they would be incredible.
I'm not disagreeing. It's somebody I'm in a bunch of football chats, and somebody looked up and said something like, how is Anthony Richardson like 7 for 22 last Sunday? And I was like, because that's what he does.
It just is.
That's what he does. Like, I hadn't been charting it. I was watching it live. I was like, well, it's
now,
actually
to be
sounds
fair,
about right.
To be fair, the first couple games he came back after the benching. His stat line should have been better, but their tight ends, to tie it back into Tyler Warner, the tight ends are so bad that like his box score looked worse than it actually was. But like this past week was not good.
No,
right?
You can't win with that.
It slipped again. So
okay, it's Chargers win 97% chance to make the playoffs. There you go.
And that was, the Chargers being a sneaky playoff team was one of like the summer bets that I felt the best about.
Yep.
I fully admitted at the time, when we were doing the Chargers episode for Summer Series, I was like, I get it. I'm biased.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
But just like seeing the facility, just the mood change in the facility up close and personal, I was like, there's something here. And so I felt really, really good about that one. And I'm happy it paid off because there's a bunch of other calls I made that did not pay off at all.
Yeah, like AR dominating the league.
Yeah. I feel like me saying the Chargers are going to be good kind of makes up for that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe
telling yourself that. No, Bo's leaning on Krull here. He had a connection with him in the preseason as well. And crunch time, he's gone back to him a couple of times here in the late going. Okay.
Oh, good move by Javonte.
Javonte Williams needed that catch, man. He's had a rough night, to be sure, catching the football. Oh, by the way, Sean Payton on the sideline. Did you hear that Alvin Kamara's injury more serious than originally thought?
No.
Yeah, that came out today.
Like, how bad?
Well, probably not the rest of the season. They thought they might get him back this season, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
At this point, like, you're a bad team. Like, why?
I don't disagree.
Why even bring it back, right?
Oh!
Did that get tipped?
Or
did he just not hit it right?
It did not come off with a lot of gas, but it cleared the bar. It still counts. I thought that one was going to come up short. Let's see how he hits it.
Laces out, Dan.
He hit it. He just hit it low.
It just died on him. That was interesting.
Just about hit the camera.
He's like, did it?
I love the look. He's like, whatever, man. 3's 3. I'll take it.
It doesn't affect my season stats. I'll take it.
That's right. My agent's not going to call me after this game. I'm good.
All right, so we got an onside here.
I wonder if the ref's asking him, how'd you hit that one? Didn't look very good. It's classic. Some of those conversations when you're down on the field and you're listening to what the banter between the players and the officials, even if it's like an officiated practice, it's good stuff.
NFL referees are so sassy too. Like they take the piss out of these dudes all the time. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. They'll be, begging for a call. defensive lineman. Oh, this hold me. What about the three I let you get away with last quarter? You weren't complaining about those. You're just like, okay.
The only thing that beats it is hockey refs.
Oh, hockey refs are ruthless. Love them. By the way, do you partake in Shorzy?
Love Shorzy. It's great.
Shorzy as a ref is the best.
It's
Oh my
funny.
goodness.
I think even as a spinoff, I think Shorzy's even better, which is
Shorzy's pretty solid.
which
Like
is rare.
it feels like they got a lot of the bits. So for those of you not familiar, we're talking about Letterkenny, the original series, brilliant. Um, was an independent Canadian comedy series that got picked up and went mainstream in the national. And then there was a recurring character in Letterkenny who was always referred to but rarely seen, named Shorzy, who was a hockey player. They made an entire spinoff series called Shorzy with the same protagonist playing Shorzy, and it's brilliant stuff. Jared Kiso is the actor and writer, creator. Um, if you're into, well, I don't know, it's a very particular brand of humor, but if you're into it, you'll think it's hilarious.
I when people say what is Letterkenny like, I always tell them, okay, imagine if Aaron Sorkin wrote "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" in Canada.
You should just say it's where EJ grew up. Because it totally is. Like it happens to be Canada, but like it's farms and hockey players, like people chirping and sitting around doing nothing. I'm like, yep, like so much of that tracks.
You know what show I still haven't watched that I really have to? Speaking of
Uh,
sports shows that are really good,
no.
um, what's the Jason Sudeikis one? Uh,
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Still have not seen Ted Lasso. Clips always pop up, and I'm like, oh, this just looks like a
It
very high
looks
quality
really
show.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Still haven't watched it, mainly because it's on Apple. I don't have Apple.
I know. I don't have Apple either. So again, same thing. I'm familiar with the clips and certainly have listened to Jason talk about it quite a bit because he's um, talking again about the inspirations for that series and how it came to be and why it really turned into a thing. Again, it was not in the beginning. It was not what it turned into, and that's what happens with great shows. So pretty cool.
Apple was worth it for Severance. I think season 2 is like finally coming out after
Yep. No,
years
Severance is
and
coming out.
years and
No,
years.
Apple's got a lot of great stuff on it. I just, there's this weird thing that everybody paid for called cable, and then they thought it was too cool, and they broke it up, and now you pay everybody more for the parts. It's weird.
Plus YouTube TV for Sunday Ticket.
Oh, dude, trust me, we just got the bill for that. That's a business expense for us, but
Yeah.
holy crap, just went up.
Telling
Last
you
thing's
guys,
going up.
start a football YouTube channel. Even if you have no intentions of being a YouTuber, just make a few videos and then write Sunday Ticket off on your taxes. It's worth it just for that.
Yeah, at the current rate, it's you made money for the year. All right.
I think that's the last one, right? Last kneel down.
Yeah, they were just talking about playoff chances for the Chargers, and again, 97% chance to make the playoffs. Um, Chargers looking really good, just trying to burn as much time as possible here. They got it inside, so yeah, no more timeouts for the Broncos. That's it. It's under
I'll,
45.
I'll tell you what, though. For the people that are relying on Justin Herbert rushing yards for their
Oh,
fantasy, this is destroying them.
devastating. I had it until Justin Herbert started running backwards,
When
and
he
then I
took like
didn't
a
have it.
20-yard loss on the last 3 plays.
Oh man,
Somebody's going to lose by half a point because of this.
100%, 100%.
Just awful. That's like the bad beat of the century.
Yeah, that is a rugged way to lose. Now, I thought he went down with less than 45 seconds, but now they're calling.
Well, play clock is 40 anyway, but So they're just taking the delay a game, and then they're gonna punt it.
Yeah, and then they basically just have to stop all the lateral madness. Well, it's 10 points. Like, what's the matter? Or no, 7 points. Still got to stop all the lateral madness, I guess.
Unless they're just gonna do the whole like throw it out of bounds.
Yo, Justin's gonna launch a strato shot. Arm punt, a true arm punt. We talk about arm punts all the time. That was an actual.
That is an arm punt.
I love that one of the first hugs comes from the fullback. I mean, he is the closest, but you know.
All right, Chargers are going to be a playoff team unless something historically unprecedented happens over the last 2 weeks.
Unless the meteor hits, but yeah, almost 500 people hanging out with us to the end, to the bitter end of a late season, second to last Thursday night game. Deeply appreciate all of you. This is a fun ride. We enjoyed doing it, but we enjoy doing it a whole lot more because you're all here taking the piss out of us and adding in a whole lot of meaningful content along the way. So
next week, reminder, last TNF game of the year for us. It is a Bears game. I will be drinking Malort to get myself through it. I don't know if I'm going to do Malort every single time the Bears do something embarrassing because
you shouldn't do that.
I have a flight the next day.
You have a liver.
So
let's just go with that.
That ain't going to be great. Maybe I'll do a Malort shot every time Caleb gets sacked.
Oh, God.
Maybe a Malort shot every time Seattle scores.
You know how many times I'm going to do a Malort shot?
None at all.
None for that miserable team right now.
But I have to maintain tradition. So
I'm
taking one literally for the team.
You're taking two or however many there are.
I want to figure out what is the Malort shot trigger that will get me in like a good
happy mood.
4 to 6 range. 4 to 6 I can do over a 3-hour period. I don't want to do like 13 like last time.
What about, well, I don't know. It'd be hard to judge in real time. What about run stops?
That's a recipe for like 13.
I don't think it is, actually.
This will be the one time their defense plays well. I don't want to risk that one. That will kill me.
All right. I don't want to kill you either.
It's the Seattle O-line. Are you fucking kidding me?
No. The other way.
Oh, Seattle run stops?
Yeah.
That will be even more.
No, I don't think so. We'll see.
Mike McDonald's defense? You're just trying to get me killed.
I am not. I have a vested interest in keeping you alive.
If run stops is playing with fire here. Last super chat of the night. Nick Kovac for $5. Thank you, Nick. In my opinion, the Chargers beat the Broncos because the Chargers, parentheses, the Bolt logo team, scored more points than their opponents. The Broncos did. Thanks, Magic. Great analysis.
And now, moving on from that high-level analysis, I feel like a local newscaster. Since sports was so on it tonight, let's talk about the weather.
And now here's something you'll really like.
We all got wet because it rained tonight. Awesome. Let's go to traffic.
What was that? You've seen Mean Girls, right?
Some of it.
Where the girl... The girl thought that she could feel storms coming with her boobs, and she called it ESPN. And so she's doing a weather report at the end of the movie. She's like, "There's a 60% chance it's already raining."
Did not see that episode.
No, Mean Girls is like one of the best teenage comedy movies ever.
Yeah,
have to see it. See it. Like when Sky's like 13.
Yeah, it's Tina Fey. And I appreciate Tina a lot.
Amazing movie. All right. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. I'll figure out what I'm going to do for Malort.
Yeah, we'll try and figure out a reasonably liver-safe arrangement for Malort consumption during a Bears game. I'm not sure there is such a thing, but if it's out there, we'll find it.
Yeah, something that isn't run stops. All right, we'll see you guys later.